Well, Johnny Chaos is here. So he's going to have to talk about this. Hello, welcome to the show. It's hard to hear you. Is it me? It might be me. It might be me. It might not be you. Hello? Let me
You got my voice now?
Yeah, we hear you loud and clear.
Okay. So what happened was I was hooked up to the Bluetooth speaker because I'm talking to you by my phone now. So
okay.
But I just wanted to pop in. So what I was saying was basically if you buy $100 worth of HEX, and right now it's an $8 swap fee, okay? You still get $92 worth of HEX at whatever the current price is.
Yeah.
If you wait and you end up buying at 10 cents and it's a $30 gas fee, how much HEX do you really get? Not a lot. So
True.
you will get exponentially less HEX by waiting when the gas fees go up and the price of HEX also goes up, and you also don't get your copy. You'll have to pick a chain. So you'll only be able to get one coin on one chain. And by waiting around for lower prices while the gas fees are down, might not work out so good for you because you're not just going to pay the price of HEX, you're also going to pay the higher gas fee.
It's true.
You follow me?
It's true. So the gas fee might, even if the price goes down, the gas fee going up will close the gap, so to speak.
Well, yeah, it's exponentially worse. So it's not like you're paying 10 cents anymore. Say you want to buy $100 worth, right? And gas fee is $50. You're paying twice the price for your HEX. So if it's 10 cents, in essence, you're paying 20 cents for your HEX, not 10 cents, because the gas fee is absorbing half of the HEX you would have been getting at that price.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're only getting half the HEX, you know, at the price that you think you're getting it for.
Yeah. So what do you think about the DCAing into ETH for gas fees? Because on the one hand, you need the ETH to unstake, but at the same time, if you're DCAing into ETH and not HEX, like probably ETH is not going to run up as much as HEX. So like, is it even worth it? Or like
my thought on this is you shouldn't even bother staking if you're staking less than 2 years, and it should be at least like 10,000 HEX if you're going to stake on the Ethereum side. That's my theory on it. If you can't stake for 2 years, you shouldn't be staking. Just hold it liquid. If you sell too soon, well, that's on you. Maybe you need to practice your strong hands. But the staking mechanism is not really meant to be for months or weeks. It's meant to be for years. And, you know, by the time Pulse is out, they will have to address the ETH gas fees. If they don't address the ETH gas fees, everybody will just migrate. They'll go to where their money is treated better. There is no competition. They own all the roads right now. And since they own all the roads right now, they can charge whatever price they damn well want. But they will have to address the gas fees in the future. So the idea is to stake out long enough that, you know, wherever the gas fees are, they're going to have to address that. Right.
So here's the thing though. So that is true. And I did agree with that. But you're saying that not to stake for more than 2 years, but and not to stake more than 10,000. And that's why Crispy Man said, like, even he regrets staking 10,000. But if HEX goes where I think it's going to go, right? So if you stake, let's say 5,000 or even 1,000 and you get 1,000x, then it's not really such a small stake anymore. And you're still, you know what I'm saying?
You're gambling. So is it a savings account, or are you trying to catch the price appreciation? You have to choose your path. If you're trying to make a return, then hold it liquid. Trust your own hands to not sell when you don't need to, and don't bother staking. But if you want the yield, you want the rewards, then you need to commit to a certain time frame and stand by the time that you set. HEX is not designed to be willy-nilly. HEX is designed to benefit you long term. And if you don't want to go long term, then that's fine. Hold it liquid. Staking is completely optional. People tend to forget that part. Staking is absolutely completely optional. And they leave that out. They're like, oh, but this. You can hold it liquid just like any other coin. There's no reason not to. You can, if you're just looking for price appreciation and you're not looking for saving over time, then don't use it as a saving over time mechanism. There's no reason you have to do that. That's why staking is completely under your control. There's no set limits. There's no set terms. You can play the game any way you want to play it. But if you're going to do it, then it doesn't really make sense to think in short time frames with your stakes. We know that, staking small amounts with the gas fees going up, it's going to take a large percentage of that. So you have to have a substantial enough stake for it to be worth you to stake it on the Ethereum network. Now, that does transfer over to Pulse, and you can do shorter rolling stakes on Pulse if you want to. So if you have your HEX now, you'll get your free copy on Pulse, and then you can stake it over there. You can keep your Ethereum side liquid. You could also bridge your Ethereum side over at today's prices. You get today's prices, and you'll be able to bridge it over to the Ethereum side, trade your EHEX for PHEX, and just use the Pulse network. So you don't have to stake it all on the Ethereum side. Now, there's going to be times if you don't, that's where the variable is in the yield, is because if people all migrate over to Pulse, the yield on the Ethereum side is going to be much larger than the Pulse side, because a higher percentage is going to be staked on the Pulse side. So that lowers the payout per day per T share. Okay. And also, it lowers the amount of shares in the pool over on the Ethereum side, which increases the payout per day per T share. It's going to be interesting because it's really going to be balancing. And my thought is this, when people are thinking, well, I'm just going to move all over here, or I'm just going to move all over there. Let's say my parity theory isn't correct. Okay.
Well,
Would you have traded all your
Bitcoin?
Bitcoin?
Is correct. The theory is correct. The question is what the OA does.
But I mean, just think about. I mean, you have to cover all the angles, man. So let's just assume that you're getting basically Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. What if you traded all your Bitcoin for Bitcoin Cash? You'd have a bad day. What if you held both? Well, you'd still have one Bitcoin plus one Bitcoin Cash. So the greater the sum of the two is greater than the equal of the one choice. So you can't lose holding them both. You can lose making a choice, because you have a 50% chance of making the wrong choice if one outperforms the other. But if you hold them both, guess what? You have a 100% chance of being right, because you'll still have both coins. So the problem is people tend to lean one way or the other. They're not very, we're binary thinkers, but we usually end up with one choice. We're going to choose our favorite, right? Let's see which angle this thing's going at. There we go. Now I'm in. All right. I'm just slipping off camera slowly. I'm going away. Okay, we'll skip the comedy. But so yeah, we tend to lean towards one team, right? We have one favorite sports team. We have a favorite vehicle. We have a favorite drink, right? If we have our choice, we're going to pick our favorite. We usually have one favorite. The problem is with that in crypto, if you're making a choice between something that's forked, you don't really know. You don't really know which one's going to be predominant, which way the popularity is going to lean. What are the benefits of the one versus the other, right? It's the same code, runs the same functions, but the dynamic programming is self-balancing. And even though it wasn't necessarily designed as an idea of a fork, it's going to balance within in that structure, because of the way that it's designed, it's ideal for a fork because it will balance the yield and the T-share rate. So the opportunities are going to be on both chains. So I would advise against trying to pick one or the other, because if you hold them both, you can't lose. But if you dump one for the other, you have a 50% chance of being wrong.
Yeah, I agree. And it because the T-share, the lower T-share rate on Ethereum would force the price up, because people are gonna, I mean, there's always going to be the gap in the gas fees, but people are going to buy up to a certain point if the yield's considerably higher on the ETH chain. That's definitely true. I guess another some things that we had to, that I have you here, I would maybe want to run through you. Was this guy? Have you heard of this guy? Sami tweeted about. He emergency end staked his
Nightly, yeah.
where's
Nightly was our strongest influencer. He had a following. He had the most views. And yes, sub penny before big payday. He emergency unstaked his 150 million hex. He tried to sell us on his fair distribution coin with no OA and lock liquidity, which has been down for forever. And he turned on Richard Hart. So immediately when somebody comes into the community and they start shit talking Richard Hart, we think of Nightly right away, because that's exactly the behavior. First, they come into the community, they're all friendly. Secondly, they start shit talking Richard Hart, and then they start concern trolling. They start going, well, I don't know, guys, this could be bad. What if we did something different? So they spend some time with you saying things that you agree with. They get your confidence, they get your trust, and then they present you with another option after they start concern trolling and planting seeds of doubt. So he was one of the first to do this. And really drive a wedge in the community. And a lot of people left and went that direction. And they made a choice. They chose poorly. They chose the wrong coin. And even Nightly made like $20,000. So even after emergency unstaking those coins, losing like 60 million hex, he still made like $20,000 free and clear. And he's a prime example of somebody who got in way early and still made a profit on Hex, even when it was sub-cent. So where are the victims here, guys? Where are the victims? Even the guy that retardedly did what he did, turned against the community, still made money in Hex, at the very beginning.
Yeah. So that is interesting. And this is something I brought up, maybe I wanted to tell you, is that people think, like, they see a lot of people. I don't know if you saw this part earlier. A lot of people see a lot of ordinary people that have gotten like super, super, super rich on Hex. And I think that's really what triggers this feeling that I'm too late, I missed the party.
Oh boy, incoming call. Hold on.
Oh, yeah.
The reason to talk on the phone's bad.
Yeah, so there is that feeling that I'm late because there's so many people ahead of me that
actually, I'm going to do this so I can actually hear you. More Bluetooth stuff. Talk to me.
Yeah, so they think they got in late because
why am I not hearing you now?
Are you hearing me?
Are you muted?
I don't think so. Let us know in the chat. Could the chat hear me?
I can't hear you, bud. Let me try to leave and come back in here.
All right. Yeah, hop right back in. Could you guys hear me in the chat? Hello?
All
Can
right.
you hear?
Can you hear me now?
I could hear you. Could you hear me?
I can hear you. Okay, we're good.
Yeah, awesome. So there are a lot of people, they come in, they see, oh, these Hex OGs got super rich. It must mean it's too late because, right, people look at the Bitcoin OGs like, oh, they're super rich and things like that. But people don't realize that it's like it's the first of its kind where you have people that got in early and got in super rich, even though there are other coins that have had like several thousand X's in like under 2 years, but nobody really got super rich, right? Like there's no sandbox flexes, there's no phantom flexes, there's no Ethereum flexes because there is no time lock. So like it is sort of first of its kind where people got rich super fast, but that doesn't mean you're late. It just means like this is something special where it actually gives people the ability to make it into the top 1% by not selling early. Like people say this is the biggest redistribution of wealth, like crypto's the biggest redistribution of wealth from like the 99%, to let them come into the 1%. But it's just the opposite. For everything else besides Hex, it's more or less the same of the money going from the 99% to the 1%. Hex is the only protocol that's actually the biggest redistribution of wealth. And that's why it's hard for people to realize that they're not late. They're super early. But what do you think?
Where can you put your money and or earn 12, 15% per year? That means Hex is always valuable because you could put $1 million in and make $100,000 a year. It doesn't matter if the price doesn't move. Okay. So if you had lottery winnings and you put $100 in and the price doesn't even move, you're still making $100,000 a year. So you tell me that doesn't appeal to rich people. People spend millions of dollars on mining equipment to make coins so they can pay power bills. Hex has none of those externalities. You don't need a building. You don't need a facility. You don't need workers. You don't need to upgrade your equipment. You don't need to do any of that. All you need to do is commit to a certain period of time and then mint your coins at the end. And, when Bitcoin first started, anybody could mine it. Okay. And that was good because anybody could mine it, but they had to run the function and they had to be in the know. And that was really decentralized. Well, later they made that more difficult, which was good for the price because there were a smaller amount of people minting less coin, minting the coins, and they had the ability to hold some of those off the market. Well, now energy costs have caught up with that to where you have over $200 million in sell pressure every month in Bitcoin, and it does just fine. So it's funny, like people are like, well, these OGs are dumping on our heads. Well, you know what? Bitcoin has $200 million of automatic sell pressure every month. Okay. And you don't have anywhere even relevantly close to that if all the OGs decided to dump all at once in Hex. Okay. So you've got all these externalities that Hex doesn't have. It's pure profit. Even as long as Hex has any value and you can cover your gas fees, you are still making money. So no, there is no late to Hex. It's all relevant to your entry point. And again, were you late to Bitcoin when it was $1? Were you late to Bitcoin when it was $5? Were you late to Bitcoin when it was $10? Heck, Richard didn't even start buying until $30. And the irony there is if you would have bought Hex at all-time lows, you would have outperformed Richard. You would have outperformed Richard buying Bitcoin at $30.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, you think about it, it's a 20,000x, or was it 20,000x? 2,000x. It's only a 2,000x. So, yeah. So when you think about it, you could outperformed Richard by buying Hex at all-time lows. So yeah, he's pretty proud of that because it has been the best performing asset. It was the best performing asset 2 years in a row, and then we had one down year. Damn. Lucky you. You have the option to get in the down year before the fork happens, getting your copy at low gas fees before the gas fees get astronomical, and get a copy on the other chain. Boy, that sucks. Sucks for you guys. You're way late, man. Don't buy any. Save it for me. Let me get some more.
Yeah. No, it's actually interesting because Kevtron just tweeted about this, like, and when he tweeted that, like, he's now has more money, more like US dollar value in his bags than he had during the bull market. So I rechecked my staking ladder, and surprisingly, because I've earned so much and I've been DCAing and staking, I'm like pretty close to bull market cash already. And we haven't even gotten started. It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy.
Oh, when you look at a stake you look at 100,000 stake that, a year and a half later is already made 48,000 hex. You're like, oh, damn. It like dwarfs big payday. So like everyone's like, oh, I missed the big payday. That was only like 30% more. That was like 1 year's worth of gains. 1 year. Okay. The 3-year stakes that I got, their big payday is like nothing. I mean, you'll see people unstake and forfeit their big payday bonus because the big payday bonus's comparison to the yield is nothing. It's tiny, You don't really, the thing with HEX is if you're not staked for 2 years, you don't really see, because it's like it's a slow boiling pot sort of scenario, right? If you just watch it, it doesn't seem like it's doing anything, and then it does, right? So like in the beginning, you could get a T-share for 60 cents. At 10 cents at 6x per day per T-share, you were getting 60 cents a day.
It's crazy.
For that T-share. Okay? So, and you don't see the T-share rate go up that fast. I mean, people draw attention to it and they're like, oh, we're up 50 hex today. Well, 50 hex is only, 50x, 40 cents, right? So it doesn't seem like much. Oh, well, it's 40 cents more for T-share. But they don't understand, okay? In 2.5 years, it's going to be 50,000 hex per T-share. And hex could be $1. That's a $50,000 T-share. Okay? Your T-share today is like, I think $2,000. I don't even know. I haven't checked.
We could pull that up for you, actually.
Yeah. But when hex is $1, that's the thing with the T-share rate. It's exponential. Okay? So if it's 50 hex or 50,000 hex per T-share, and hex is $1, that's $50,000 T-share. You're buying a future $50,000 T-share at today's price of like $2,000. Where you at? What's the T-share cost?
Oh, you can't see the screen share. T-share right now, US dollars is 2,042, and hex is 26,536.
Yep. So what is guaranteed? Okay, hex being $1 isn't guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
Likely, but not guaranteed. Okay. What is likely is that every 2.5 years, the number of hex it costs to make a T-share doubles.
Yeah.
All right. And this is important because it simulates a halving. When people are worried about the large stakes that are rolling and then they dump those on the market, every 2.5 years, if they're rolling the same amount, they're getting half. They're getting half the coins that they used to get. So there's like a halving for those rolling stakes every two.
Oh, shoot. Sorry.
And for the stakeholders, it's an increase in value in T-share, right? You understand when you understand hex when you end your first couple year stake and you try to buy your T-shares back. That is usually when that hits people. So if you've not been around in hex for 2 years yet, you haven't seen anything yet. You're still just learning. And that's why I said really it does. It takes about 2 years to really get a grip for what hex does. And I know you're new, and I know you haven't made it to 2 years yet, but it becomes much more clear later when you try to buy your T-shares back.
Yeah. Well, I've been closer to 2 years, but I haven't really paid as much attention because the price has been going down on me until very recently. And now, including the yield, it's getting close to being in the net positive, which is awesome. But
this is nothing. This is nothing. There's a compounding effect. You see, at 5 cents, a penny move is only 20% move. At 10 cents, a penny move is only a 10% move. At $1, a penny move is only a 1% move. You got to understand it's compounding. HEX can move 50% in a day. HEX has moved 100% in a few hours. Okay? People don't understand this compounding effect or how this percentage works and the low liquidity and all that. You're in for a treat. You get to ride this one up because it took 31 days to go from 11 cents to 30 cents. It took 31 days. It took us a year to get down to the lows. It took a full year to get down to the lows. It only took 31 days to move from 11 cents to 30 cents. And we're seeing similar patterns again. So, and it did that without a Pulse launch, without a duplicate. Okay. And the reason we went down so hard was because there were all these other options and different ways for people to spend their money, plain and simple. Okay. There were multiple sacrifices. There were people that believed that, if Bitcoin goes down to 11K, then we got to sell. There's all kinds of reasons in HEX itself for why we ended up where we are. And it does not have a lot to do with it has somewhat to do with the macro market, because when somebody's selling everything they own to pay bills, well, HEX is one of those things that they own. So of course, if they're selling everything without prejudice, that would hurt the HEX price too. But a lot of the stuff that we have going on is localized in our system. And I've been trying to explain to people for like forever, HEX doesn't have to respond to Bitcoin. Your people are taking their familiarity with the knowns that they've known before, and they're taking it for granted that just because it's always been a certain way, it has to continue to be that way. And, I know people like to say, well, this time is different, and it's not ever different. Well, when you got something that's designed different, it very well can be. And you won't recognize it because you'll be comfortable in your knowns and what you've experienced before, because it's always been true to you. It's always worked out for you before. It's never failed yet. It's never failed till it does.
No, and it has decorrelated, and I'm putting the price chart of both up on the screen. And recently, especially the PulseChain launch, the charts do not look the same at all. I mean, at all.
And here's the thing: people like to say correlated and decorrelated, and or it recorrelates or decorrelates. No, it's been decorrelated. What people suffer from is apophenia, which is where they are seeing what they want to see. And they're trying to, it's how our brains work. Our brains want to have explanations for what we're seeing. So we try to put it in terms by applying our knowns to make it more understandable to us. What HEX has going on is in its own little universe. You're programmed to find similarities. You're not programmed to distinguish differences. We're always going to say, describe something. You won't describe what it's not like. You'll describe what it's like, right? That's how we're programmed. We analyze things by applying our knowns and similarities, and we apply it to explain things that we don't understand, so that we can make sense of it. Our minds literally are programmed to make sense of things, and that can be detrimental because you can see false correlations where there are none. And correlation is based on dependency. You don't become uncorrelated and recorrelated. What happens is you happen to be going in the same direction at the same time, and then you're making excuses for why you believe that that's happened, applying your nose. And I'm telling you, there is no fundamental reason why HEX has to follow suit with Bitcoin whatsoever. It's not bonded to Bitcoin. So, and I've been up and down this road several times, but you can't unprogram people's thinking, because that's how we're designed. We're designed to find those similarities, and we're designed to make sense of things. And you either get it or you don't.
Yeah, that actually did make a big because I always used to say Hex sometimes decorrelates and sometimes it doesn't. And when you said that, it
And you
actually
killing
did.
me, man. You killing
Yeah.
me.
No, it made a huge impact on me. It's true. And that's why technical analysis in trading is very, very dangerous, because like people think that they're in
You're
control.
seeing shapes.
You're just seeing shapes. And like to everyone, it's different and it really means nothing. The only correlation is, like you said, is that like if we're in a recession, then people need money, they're going to sell their stuff, or if there's, so there is that sort of correlation. But
and I mean, there's Gresham's law too, right? So they might sell their Bitcoin before they sell their Hex.
Yeah.
So they might decide what they want to sell first. But if you're in a situation where they're selling everything they own and you've got people that are panic stricken, like the major FUD where they think all crypto's going down, right? Then they're going to try to get out of all of it because they're making it all similar. They're not selling. They're selling without prejudice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that makes a difference. So if you're just gonna, it's like someone shows up to your house and you're like, I'm selling everything in the house, right? I don't care if it's a TV. I don't care if it's a vase. I'm just selling everything. Just make an offer. I'm selling everything. In those cases, yes, you can see concurrent behavior. All right, but it's not a correlation. It's behavior that's happening at the same time because of a macro event. It's concurrent behavior, right? But you can't mistake that for correlation. Correlation has to do with dependency. So I'll ask it this way: if you buy Hex, does Bitcoin price go up?
If you buy Hex, does Bitcoin price go up? No.
If you sell Hex, does Bitcoin price go down?
If you sell Hex, does Bitcoin price go down? No.
Exactly. There is no correlation. There is no dependency.
Well,
see, if there's a dependency, then it would work both ways. You see, that's what a correlation is. It doesn't work both ways.
But what about the Hart's law, where it's
They're not bonded
to Ethereum, but it's bonded to Ethereum, which is bonded to
in a
small
amount.
It's like 30%.
In a small amount as a comparison. And also, you've got the staking mechanism. There are not as many available coins on the market as people believe there are to actually be circulated, to be sold. What makes Hex price go down is when you sell Hex. What makes price go up in Hex is when you buy Hex. That's why we were able, people have an interest in Hex right now. They don't have an interest in Bitcoin. So they're buying Hex. Bitcoin's price isn't moving, and we are. Okay? Why? Because they're choosing to buy Hex instead of buying the other thing. And if they bought Bitcoin, it wouldn't make the price of Hex go up. There is no bonding there. Now, again, with the macro events, what happens? If everybody is buying every crypto they can get their hands on, then yes, all prices move together. But that's concurrent behavior, because everybody's buying all the cryptos, right? The problem is Bitcoin can go up without dragging Hex up with it. That's another thing, right? So it's an advantage that we don't necessarily have to go down with Bitcoin, but just because Bitcoin pumps does not mean that Hex is going to pump.
Yeah.
Okay. And you need to take both ends of that spectrum. So there are other people that assume, oh yeah, well, when Bitcoin hits $100,000, Hex is going to be high. Well, it could be. That depends on if people are buying Hex.
Well, I think it will be high because a lot of people that had a lot of gains in Bitcoin are going to go into Hex. So there's just more money in the system, right? So like when Bitcoin and Ethereum are at all-time highs, I remember when I first bought Hex, I had a lot of money because I was in a bull market for like over a year. So I think there is sort of that effect.
You know what I think is going to happen?
People are going to what's going to happen?
ETH is going to take a shit when the coins come out for Shanghai, and Hex is going to pump against ETH, because I think people are aware that Hex is probably the better staking mechanism. And I know there are people in our community that have gathered up their 32 ETH that have been locked away for all this time that they had no access to, and they much rather put it into Hex. So when Shanghai's released, I think that's going to be a pumping event for Hex.
Yeah, but
and
does
probably
that have
not so
to
good for Ethereum.
does that have to dump ETH against the US dollar if it's traded for
No,
HEX?
no, they could put it in. They could trade it for HEX because there is a pairing. It's just not as highly concentrating.
Wait,
So there's actually more slippage there.
so are you saying though that people with like a lot of money that are going to sell their Ethereum for HEX?
Maybe.
Okay. Oh, there you go. That is pretty crazy. And I actually said that I think that Ethereum doesn't want to unlock because ETH's down a lot. They would rather wait for it to go higher because if they unlock it when the price is up, people are less
We'll
likely
sell
to
it down.
sell. No, they're less likely because everyone
You think
likes to
so?
sell everyone likes to sell the bottoms and buy the
Right.
tops. So like if like they get the Ethereum and they're down so much, they're going to be like, oh, I got to sell it, right? But if they're up, they're going to be like, oh, this made me so much money, I'm going to keep holding. I don't know.
How many Genesis whales do we have?
I have no idea. You know that.
And how much?
Oh, okay. I know what you're saying. Okay.
How much ETH do you think that they tried to lock up? And in the meantime, while that ETH was locked up and unusable, they got to watch HEX perform for the past 2 years.
What was the price they locked it up at?
Subset HEX.
Oh, damn. What was the price of ETH?
Probably $300 or so.
Okay. It is interesting because one of the most traded coins on Ethereum with Ethereum whales, and this was reported by mainstream sources, is HEX.
Mm-hmm.
So the whales definitely have their eyes on it, if not accumulating at this point. Even.
So what do you think? What do you think happens when they get their ETH back?
They sell
and they
for
get
HEX.
their little piddly yield back.
They sell for HEX.
Either that or they just put it back in their wallet. But I doubt I doubt they're going to be very happy with this whole staking thing, right? Especially not after experiencing HEX. So
yeah,
we'll see what they do. And I like I said, there are a lot of people that got their 32 ETH that are in HEX. There are a lot of people that were scattered. You got to keep in mind, 32 ETH was when HEX came out. 32 ETH was about $3,200.
mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's when the big deal was, when everybody was talking about gathering up that 32 ETH, and it did a run up to like $300 at that time. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so in that time frame, yes, there are hexagons that have ETH locked up. There are also hexagons with Gox coins that are still locked up.
Mm-hmm.
I actually know several of those, and they cannot wait to get their Gox money back and put it into HEX. They can't wait to get that back under their control and earn a yield for them. Okay, so that's like bonus money they thought they lost that they're going to be able to throw it back in. So yeah,
very, very interesting points. I guess I wanted to maybe run some of the tweets by you, if you have time. Whoops. What was it? There was. Oh yeah. So Richard changed the HEX staking. He's saying it's now going to be called HEX mining. Did you hear about this?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. So the news is breaking to Johnny Chaos. This came out at 12:44 p.m. today. Richard Hart tweets, HEX mining is no longer called staking. The focus is on the user doing all of their work and reaping all of their own rewards. There are no middlemen.
I said token creation. I put in a thing that said token creation, but I guess he's going to go with mining. Now we're going to sound like freaking Pulse Bitcoin, Lord.
No, I said that's very bad for Pulse Bitcoin.
Yeah. Well, technically, I mean, it's really kind of what we're doing in a way. It is token creation, and what Bitcoin miners are actually doing is token creation also. The difference is they're required to have certain equipment. So, like, this is what people don't grasp, is the fact that the action to receive the rewards can be changed. Okay? Mm-hmm. All the money comes from inflation, and the qualifying action to receive the rewards can be changed. Okay? So Staking versus mining is what we've had, and it's really all the same thing. It's just you're locking your coins up instead of running equipment, and it's just changing the action for being the qualifying action. So the qualifying action, it's like an airdrop in a way, if you think about it. Because like, what was the qualified action to get your Uni tokens from Uniswap? Well, you just had to simply use the platform. What was your qualifying action to get your whatever coin, right? Well, your qualifying action was to have T-shares. So the qualifying action to assign people the new coins can change, but it all comes from the same place, which is inflated supply distributed to holders for doing certain actions, right? And usually where Richard loses people is he likes to throw in that destroying the environment thing, and that just shuts people's brains off and they miss the rest of the sentence because they're so enraged by the whole destroying the environment thing that they can't rationalize what he's actually saying is this is the action, which he's focused on the damage that the action caused instead of the fact that we're just changing the action. And that's all we're doing is we're changing the qualifying action to receive the coins. That's it.
Yeah. But I really like that they're calling it mining because staking, mining is always doing your own work, right? But staking is often, probably more often than not, basically it's giving your money to people to do the work for you and expect profits based on the work of others. So it's very optical.
What Gary Gensler said, though, it's not really the terminology. It's the underlying economics that they're looking into. And most staking coins are actually platform-based staking coins where you are giving custody of your coins. So it's kind of like DeFi, right? So we wanted to be DeFi, and we really were the first DeFi. But then they went and bastardized the term of DeFi, and it was a DeFi in name only centralized platform that held custody of your keys. And no, we didn't need to be on any of those lists with those types of coins because HEX is nothing like that. And so we try to fight back and we try to say, well, we're true DeFi. Well, they've done bastardized that name of DeFi now that we really don't want to use that term anymore. We don't want to try to explain to people the difference. It's like trying to say, oh, but it's not a poisonous spider. It's just a spider. It's not a poisonous one because people already got spider in their head, right? They don't care if it's poisonous or not. They're just a word association. So DeFi now has a very detrimental connotation when people are thinking about cryptocurrencies. If you say DeFi now, people run for the hills because like, oh yeah, we heard about that. We heard about Celsius. We heard about BlockFi. We heard about Luna. We heard about FTX. We heard about that DeFi. Yeah, that's great stuff, man. Lost my ass on that. You ain't selling me another DeFi. So we do have to change our terms. And I like monetary sovereign code. That's what I like. Because no one else can claim that they're a monetary sovereign code. We are a monetary sovereign code. You do the work. You get the rewards. You are running it by yourself. You're not beholden to any platform or service. No one else holds your coins under their custody. It's just you and the code. So I like monetary sovereign code. Maybe monetary sovereign code is a little bit too much because people don't quite understand self-sovereignty. But DeFi is bad. DeFi is just a curse word now. We don't want to claim that. We want to let that shit go.
Yeah, and speaking of that, I wanted to run this by you. You might have seen it
because they got.
I wanted to get your reaction of Ivan on Tech said something very similar to what you said, only he said it a lot later, but he still said it and he still talked about Richard Hart. So it's a 50-second clip. Let's
a bit of downward today. I think a lot has to do with the current situation with DeFi, guys. I think this is creating a bit of waves where investors are starting to question DeFi a bit because what the hell? It's supposed to be decentralized. Guys, update the contract because they got a court order. What if Polygon gets a court order? They can take billions of dollars and give it to the court. Literally, this is problem. This is a big problem, and we gotta go back to the principles of decentralization. No admin key. I mean, there is one project that has been doing it all along. That's why I'm waiting for PulseChain. With PulseChain and Richard Hart, he's been speaking about this for quite some time. And now the industry is coming to that point where we're realizing, what the hell, you cannot have admin key. If you have admin key, this is going to happen more and more and more. A bit of downward today.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So Ivan is not a adversarial kind of guy. Okay. Now, mind you, he's a freaking giant. So don't piss Ivan off. He's a freaking giant. He makes Richard look tiny.
How tall is
and
he?
He's a big dude. But you just watch the Malta interview with Ivan on Tech. You'll see him standing next to Richard, and Richard's like 6'2". So anyway, but Ivan's not. He's not controversial, right? So he likes to try to really not to avoid conflict.
Mm-hmm.
He's very non-confrontational, and but he's kind of been on the team all along. He didn't really understand why people were behaving the way that they were. Way back when Yams was out, he said, the DeFi space is getting hexified, and what he said, the hexification of DeFi is happening. There's some older videos where he said that, because what he's saying, look, hex makes hex. It's a code. It makes hex. I don't understand where the big deal is, like these Yam things here, where Yams makes Yams. I don't understand what the big deal is. Well, of course, Yams failed because it was rug pulled, because it was made by somebody that didn't build it for glory. They built it for monetary extraction, right? So most of these things that are built for extraction. They're not built for glory. They're not built to make a monument so that you can point at forever and have indefinite bragging rights, because the only person that can actually crush it is you, and you'll never do that, right? So, but yeah, Ivan's been very non-controversial and non-confrontational. Now, mind you, he is an influencer. He's got his own services and things to market and sell and stuff. And that's not my thing. But he's a smart dude. He's a developer. He knows what's going on. He just doesn't know necessarily how to approach it. And now he's getting all this positive engagement because it's coming to a point where people are realizing it's no longer popular to shit on Hex. You're starting, if you keep going that direction, you just look more and more discreditable,
Yeah.
The more and more people hold on to that narrative, when the chart defies all of your reasoning and all of your logic, the more you have to accept that, hey, obviously I'm wrong about this thing. I mean, you can't be the Black Knight in Monty Python, lose your arms and your legs and say it's merely a flesh wound. No, you're losing this fight. Hex is continuing to do what Hex does, despite your opinion, despite your irrational hate, despite your disappointment that it didn't do what you thought it would. Hex is going to do what Hex is going to do, and unfortunately, there's not anybody to stop it from doing so. And they can dream of their FCC letters and their intervening and hoping to God that something happens that someday makes them right. But unfortunately, there's not anything anybody can do. It's just going to keep going. It's a code. There is no company to sue. There is no way to stop it. It's just simply a code that you run yourself. What are they going to do? Put a ban on all video games? Are they going to ban all the apps on your phone that have any sort of monetary anything? Hex makes tokens. That's all it does. Hex makes tokens, and those tokens happen to have a fair market value, and they can be traded openly on the open market, and there's nothing anybody can do to stop that. That's it. That's all there's to it. Nobody's giving you anything. You're not taking anything from anybody. Everybody's running the game at their own home, with their own system, doing their own thing. And then if people don't follow the rules, they get penalized. And then the code distributes those penalties. And you don't have to be penalized. That is totally choice. That is a matter of whether or not you're playing by the immutable code, the rules that have been set in stone, that cannot be changed, that don't take excuses. And there's not a person that's deeming who gets what. It's just the code, and it just runs.
Yeah. You said a lot of things that I appreciated. One was, what's it called? One was the fact that someone's in it for the glory. People are all like, in my comments, it's always like, what do you think about this coin? What do you think about that coin? And you know what I'm talking about. And
do you know the founder?
Coins. Yeah.
Do you know the founder?
And not only do you know him, do you know their personal finances? Do you understand?
Yeah.
Like, they're making this to make money for them. They don't necessarily, likely don't care about the 10,000x. If they made a 10x out of something they created out of thin air, plus all their sacrifice things, they're good. Like, people don't understand and appreciate it. It's like,
I have to stop this 10,000x thing. 10,000x is not normal.
It's not normal.
1,000x is not normal, guys. 100x was the big deal in crypto.
How many coins did 1,000x? How many coins? How many cryptos did 1,000x?
A handful, and only like 5 ever did a 10,000x in all their history.
Crazy. It's crazy.
So, to think that you're going to find the next coin that's going to give you a 10,000x, you're a crack. Good luck. Good luck with that. Tell me how that works out for you. When Richard said that Hex was going to do a 10,000x, they laughed at him. That was absolutely absurd and unheard of. Absurd and unheard of. The only thing to compare that to at the time was Bitcoin and Ethereum. He was basically saying, I'm the number 3 crypto right then and there that day. And everybody laughed him off.
Yeah.
Okay. That's how silly that statement actually was. However, the design indicated that it could do that. And that it was capable of it. And that he wanted it more than anybody else. And he's willing to do things that other founders are not willing to do, like not trash his own project for the sake of self-gain. He can trash his own project. Any founder can destroy their own project. Okay?
Yep.
And you know what? After they do and they're out, guess what happens? Sometimes these things come back up. You know, the Dogecoin guy, the designer of that, left. Now Elon's Dogecoin.
Yeah, he got that's like 1 in a million that Elon's going to pick it up. But Charlie Lee left Litecoin; it never came back.
I mean, and what are people looking for? They're looking for rich guy pump my bag. Like, literally in crypto, they're like, rich guy pump my bag. Well, guess what? I know a rich guy that wants to pump your bag. I know a guy that wants to do it for glory. I know a guy that wants nothing more than to win and rub it in everybody's faces for the rest of his life. Do you think Saylor really has any attachment to Bitcoin? Really? He didn't make it. It's not his baby. It's not Saylor coin. Might as well be nowadays, because he's synonymous with the word Bitcoin now, because he's the current face that everybody talks to when it comes to Bitcoin. But you know what? He wasn't around when Richard was. He wasn't around 2011 buying Bitcoin. He wasn't getting 50 free Bitcoin for every block that was mined. He was nowhere near that. Okay. If you want to actually understand how Bitcoin works,
he said it was going to die like online gambling at $10.
Yeah, and then they bought it $30,000, 1,000x on Richard's $30, 1,000x later, which means he could get 1,000x less coins than Richard could for the same amount of money. So I don't care how much money he has. He never had more Bitcoin than Richard. He never had more Bitcoin than Richard. I'm sorry. That's the fact that nobody wants to talk about. But you know what? None of them know how to do any chain analysis to actually understand that. And I'm not doxing Richard's wallet, so screw y'all. But I can tell you this. Richard had more Bitcoin than Saylor. Saylor was not the bigwig. They were dissing the bigwig. You got to see that. Richard didn't just call the 65 top. He sold the 65 top. There's a video.
He made it.
There's a video with him talking to Ivan on Tech, and people like to bring it up. There's an old video where he is old Richard in the normal wardrobe and the crazy hair. Kind of looks like the Mad Hatter. And he's upset because he did not sell at the 20K top. He knew the top was coming. He called the top. and he didn't sell, and he was frustrated with himself because he could have took full advantage of that, knowing that that top was there. And he was frustrated with himself. And Ivan's like, well, why are you upset? He goes, because I have a hard time letting go of these things. That's his quote. Because I have a hard time letting go of these things. And he didn't let them go. Okay. He had to wait for the next top. All right. But that gives you a little insight to his personality, is that he has a hard time letting go of things. Okay. He's not letting his baby go. There is no way in hell he lets his baby go. This is bragging rights indefinitely for all times. He really wants to make the best performing asset ever known to mankind. That's what he wants to go down in the history books for. And I tried to get him to say it. You know, I had like 6 minutes on the interview with Maddie. I tried to get him to say it. I'd really like to have a conversation where we talk about legacy, you know, and really kind of throw that down, because I don't think people really understand where he's coming from.
Yeah.
This is about winning. And winning, when you've already got enough money, winning is no longer about money. It's about doing the things that you can't buy. And you can't buy this community. You can't buy this level of support that he's built, right? And how has he done that? Instead of extracting value, he's built everybody up, right? He's trying to bring everybody up all together. That's what a leader should do.
He extracted a different kind of value, not a cash value. But
the kind you can't buy.
And
you
guess
can't
what?
buy that level of loyalty.
Yeah, and then there was $1.5 billion raised after doing that. People do not understand like where they are. It's like unbelievable. It's like, what about this coin? What about that coin? It's like, dude, like, you're in the right place.
These things happen so very rarely.
It's crazy.
There was Bitcoin, there was Ethereum, now there's HEX.
Yep.
Everything else, I really don't care. Okay. These are the monumental changes. These are the game changers. Why are they the game changers? The innovation was not allowing the double spend to happen. That was Bitcoin. Ethereum allowed you to program money, and HEX is actually using that programming to program money. As other things are, you know, just cut and paste of everybody else's thing.
Yeah.
Or some game to get you into so that they can get you tokens because they get in first, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's always some kind of something. But these innovations, this is the third innovation. This is actually the third innovation. It took them a while because they got comfortable with selling stick figures.
Well, the DEX was probably the third, maybe the fourth.
Yeah. So the deck, I'm gonna give credit to Uniswap because, and I mean there are other applications. Okay, there are other applications, but yes, definitely liquidity pools are definitely you know, the innovation of DeFi. Okay, HEX would be the programmable money, you know, trustless yield. But yes, the Y times X equals K formula and the liquidity pools and understanding that is very important because it changed the whole concept, to online exchange and direct swap without custody. So, and a way to provide yield to liquidity providers for parking their dormant capital. Yeah. As where if you park your money on an exchange, you're not earning any yield for that dormant capital. Okay. So if it's on a DEX, you are earning yield within those ranges of just parking your dormant capital. So that makes a very big difference. The other thing is the self-balancing system that allows there to always be a trade. You know, there's always liquidity, right? As where on an exchange, you can fat finger buy and those orders can go away and the slippage can be massive because they're all a bunch of spook orders and they see you coming in. So they drop their buy walls just before you do. And some of these systems are rigged because on a centralized exchange, they get to choose which order goes through first, right? So you could have a perceived value of something and go to buy it. and there'd be a bunch of freaking ghost bids that just get dropped, right? So yeah, the dexes are very important. It definitely ate the centralized exchanges lunches, and they are not happy about it at all. And that's why a lot of them made their own DeFi versions. That's why Binance made the pancake swap. That's why you see stuff like Cow Swap. And that's why Matic has its quick swap. So because this is just so much easier. It's peer to peer. It's a direct swap, no KYC. The way things should have been done, but there is no middleman, right? And people that are middlemen are not going to be happy with this because you're eating their lunch. You're eating their lunch right in front of them, and there's nothing they can do about it. They don't like that much.
Yeah, that is true. And Brian should be listening. We ate your lunch, Brian. I showed you the Ivan thing. You saw the crypto Artie asking BitBoy?
Yeah, and that's that. Did you see my response videos this morning? I went on a bit of a tangent.
Oh wait, so should we just play it and then play your response, or we could just hear your response? But this was very interesting because Ivan, we knew he's been talking about it on his show. BitBoy refused to talk about it on the show, and then BitBoy, what in a private meeting, tells everyone that he's loading up. Like, let's just play it so you can hear it from the horse's mouth.
What's up, man? Thoughts on the world's biggest airdrop, PulseChain, and the amazing ecosystem that Richard Hart, my boy, founded.
It's funny, we got somebody I said every single one. Did y'all plant plants everywhere?
We're seated nice and well.
I like Richard. You guys know this. I do like Richard personally. I've always said this, and I will continue to say it. Like, I just don't really understand the way that HEX works and operates. And
crypto expert doesn't understand how inflation's paid out. Okay.
What I will tell you is this:
3 years uptime, 100%, no admin keys, pure DeFi.
It's true. I mean, all the stuff you're saying is correct. I guess the question you get into is, the questions. Where did the ETH go? Who's got the ETH? What's he using? Now,
could you answer that question real quick before we go on? What is he referring to? Just because a lot of people don't understand it and
So what happened is people got mad because Richard was making a lot of money and they wanted to know what he wanted to do with his money, because that's what you ask, right? When you trade your thing in for something that you want, you got to ask what the cashier is going to do with that money after you buy your hamburger.
You're referring to the adoption amplifier, right?
Yeah, the adoption amplifier. Yep. So anybody that put money in the adoption amplifier made 100-fold their money. No victims, no complaints, no problem. The only people that are mad is the fact that people put money in the adoption amplifier and Richard got that money, right? So they don't like that. They didn't like the market matching scenario because people like Nightly were buying up all the HEX prices and then selling it dumping it on the market on everybody else's HEX. So what happened later, there was market matching where at the end of the day, when everybody had already put in all their money, at the end of the day, the whale would come in and match it to the market. So that the ratio was equal to the price. So if you were to sell it, you would not be getting more than the price that you paid, right? So you were no longer incentivized to dump it on the market, which actually protected everybody. And you know what? Companies do that shit all the time, right? So if you have a distributorship with me, you cannot sell my product for less than 10% on a sale, or you're not my distributor. Okay? Companies do that shit all the time. So that's not uncommon. Companies buy their stocks back all the time to create value, right? This is normal behavior. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to make it into something unscrupulous by look, he could have just set a flat price and he could have just said, it's 30 cents a hex. Well, you would have been overpaying for it then, wouldn't you? Because it's still not 30 cents today, is it? So how do you determine something like that? You try to do it in the most fair distribution method that you possibly can, and you prevent players that are abusing the system and abusing their deal and abusing everybody else by just turning around and devaluing it on the market regularly. That's what you do. So there was a bit of market matching. But the where does the ETH go thing, that's silly because plain and simple, if you trade your Ethereum on a centralized exchange, where does it go? If you trade it on Uniswap, where does it go? If you buy anything in the world, do you have a right to ask what they're going to do with the money after you make that purchase? Or are you just happy that you look, if you get a pizza, right? And you chip in with your buddies on a pizza, and according to the amount of money that you put in, you get the larger slice of pizza. Do you eat the pizza and then say, "Where's my money?" This is absolutely ridiculous, right? You got what you paid for.
Yeah,
Everyone got what they paid for.
Yeah.
Nobody expected anything else out of it. The only people that are salty about it are the people that didn't understand, didn't take advantage of the opportunity that was put before them, and they lost out big because they didn't get it and they didn't trust it. And the people that ran around and said, "Where's the ETH? Where's the ETH go?" and creating this unfounded, ridiculous question cost people 100x, a minimum of 100x plus yield, because when the AA was running, HEX was sub-cent. HEX was sub-cent. And Nightly actually perpetuated where's the ETH go. And you know why? Because he wanted the ETH to go in his wallet. And that's why he made his own coin. And that's actually where that started, was with our good friend Nightly.
Yeah, well, there you go. And it's just interesting. And I don't want to be too hard on BitBoy because he's one of the more benevolent mainstream people to Richard Hart. But this guy calls himself like the XRP general. And XRP unlocks 1 billion tokens a month and dumps it. We know where it goes.
On your head,
It goes on your head. And there's no concerns about that. But a founder making a lot of money and holding a lot of ETH, which he can't even dump and destroy the HEX price. Why? All of a sudden, when it comes to HEX, it's their hands on their hips, what about this? What about that? And you look at every other crypto, they just get a pass because they're talking about
the comedy here is name a founder that doesn't dump on their followers' heads, or name an influencer that doesn't dump on their followers' heads.
Yeah, Gala Games, they're they get hundreds of thousands of tokens or whatever, unlocked, dumped every day. Algo Foundation, people love Algo, and it may even be a good blockchain, but they dump on your head every day. That's why it only did a 40x. It's ridiculous. But all of a sudden, HEX, which doesn't, you have all the questions. But
it's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious, right? And there is not a founder that does not dump on your head, other than provably on chain. The OA's never sold a HEX on the market.
OA and Satoshi, that's it.
OA and Satoshi sold on your heads too.
Oh, he did?
In the first couple of years, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Where do you think the coins came from? If Satoshi never sold a coin, who would get the coins?
Oh, that's true.
Right?
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, there was mining, but of course there had to be distribution of those coins, right? Or he gave them to people that sold them on your head. Any way you want to look at it, when you start off with something that you invent, you start out with the majority of those things. You're the only person that was originally making them.
Yep.
If how many of my products are on the market? Well, they all started from me. Nobody else has them unless they got them from me first. This concept is absolutely insane. Everything has to start from somewhere, and you can argue about whether or not you like the distribution method, but whether you like the AA distribution method or not, guess what? Anybody that put any coins in the AA whatsoever is in profit. Even at the lowest of lows, we're up 100x. So you traded your ETH for something else that went up in value more, 100-fold. And who's going to complain about that? Where are the victims? Show me the victims. The only victims are people like Nightly that wanted to get away with selling on everybody else's head and wrecking the project. And they got mad and they went and made their own coin, and they made their own system where they were in control and putting themselves at the top of the food chain because they were unhappy that someone like Richard was so successful.
Yeah.
And he thought he could easily replicate that, and he was wrong.
You can't possibly replicate it unless you're a billionaire. So I guess
No, you have to be in a position where you don't need to sell, right? You have to be in a position where it's more important to you to own things. Look at his diamond. Is he going to sell his diamond? No. He bought it for bragging rights. What the hell do you people think HEX is? HEX is his bragging right. It's his baby. It's there to show everybody forever. It doesn't do him a damn bit of good if he goes down in history as a failure now, does it?
Yeah.
Of course not. He wants to be able to point at that every time he goes by and point at it and go, yep, that's me. He wants to see it everywhere so he can point at it and go, yep, I made that. I did that. I'm proud. You know who doesn't do that? Anonymous founders that do rug pulls. You know why? Because they don't want you to know who they are. They don't want to put their face to it. You know why they don't want to put their face to it? Because they know what their intentions are. A person doesn't come out and put their name and face on it and brag like Richard does with the intent of failing. That's just ridiculous.
Yep. Very true. And BitBoy has promoted projects of anonymous founders like Pamp, which he was paid to do. So I don't know. I guess maybe you could make an argument that he's changed his ways and stuff.
No.
Okay,
he's still running the same business model that crypto space runs.
No, I think he did stop taking money though. I think he did stop. But it's like easy. Now he's rich and he's the biggest person. Like, okay, you stop taking money. What really matters to me is when you don't have a lot of money and you still refuse it. Like once
what was your empire built on?
Exactly.
The blood of your followers.
Exactly. Like what does it matter? Like once you're a rich man that you could stop taking money, like very good. But it shows who you really are when you're not a rich man. Let's play this because we got to get to your reaction.
So he's got a lot of money. So I'm not saying I have the answer to these questions, but these are the quick questions people ask about it. People putting money in, got a new project, or putting money in a new project. There's a lot of things about it that if it wasn't Richard Hart and I didn't tend to like him, I would probably call it a Ponzi and be very against it. It's got a lot of hallmarks.
Are you a Hexican?
What's that?
Are you a Hexican?
Well, here's what I'll tell you guys. What I'll tell you is, yes, my recording. Can you take it down? Oh, is this? I can't.
That's another Hexican of mine.
Look, I will say this. This is what I will say. I will say there are some coins that we are going to be adding to our portfolio.
There you go.
That I never thought we would add to our portfolio.
All right.
Okay, what's your reaction to that statement?
My reaction is he's probably already owned HEX this whole time. He just ain't going to tell you.
There are coins that we're adding to our portfolio that I would have never thought we would add to our portfolio.
He had HEX before. He sold it. He made $60,000 on it.
Yeah.
He sold it sub-cent and made $60,000 on it.
And he sacked. He sacked for Pulse.
And he sacked for Pulse, yeah. So no, you know what I think? I'll tell you what I think. I think Ben's other sponsors would not be happy or appreciative if he talked about HEX, and he would probably lose some of those contracts. That's what I think.
But to be fair,
I think Crypto Mason already lost his sponsorship with Binance as a result of mentioning HEX. And I think that's the same thing. I think some of these people are under non-disclosure clauses, and I think they are not allowed to talk about certain things or lose their sponsorships, and they cannot talk about it and they can't say it because if they do, they will lose those sponsorships. In fact, I know certain people have been under contract to not talk about HEX. Okay. But again, if I expose that, then that exposes their non-disclosure clause, and then people might be able to put that together and figure out who that might be. But that's true, okay? And I think Ben might be in the same situation.
That's why he did ask them to turn the cameras off. You could tell he was like very, very uncomfortable. And I guess as he should be.
There's three options, right? He's either being terribly disingenuous, okay? He's beholden to his sponsors and under a non-compete clause, or he really is that stupid. And I don't believe he really is that stupid because he's actually quite a smart guy. It's actually a little depressing to me because he is that, he's done a lot of work towards trying to get government regulation and writing a bill and trying to get crypto stuff approved, and trying to work in the corner of that. But then again, let's look at this realistically. That is it also in his best interest as a crypto holder to do that. So regardless of whether we give him a pat on the back and a handshake, he's still going to do that because that's in his best interest. And, you know, he's built his business off doing things that are in his best interest. And if it's in his best interest to be beholden to sponsors and not talk about HEX, because HEX isn't paying anybody, right?
Yeah.
So he's not getting a paycheck for talking about HEX. And most people don't go to work if they don't get a paycheck, right? So, you know, you have to look at it from his perspective. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm not interested in any of these mainstream influencers. I know what the game is. I don't think you learn anything there. And I have been greatly disappointed. I'm disappointed in myself that I used to follow these people and think that they had good intentions in mind just because they have smiling faces and they talk in an upbeat voice and you believe that they have your best intentions in mind. They don't. They're there. That's their job. It's their business. They're going to do what they feel is necessary to make their income, and that's what they're going to do, right? So I don't believe that we need them because I think eventually people are going to realize that you can look at any one of these influencers' last 10 calls, and then you could look at you could look at the HEX chart, and you can realize who you should be listening to in about 10 minutes. And you know who you should be ignoring in about 10 minutes. But if you are unwilling to take the time to bother, I mean, because what do, dude? They actually depend on your ignorance and your laziness to take them at their word. That's what they depend on. They depend on your trust and your ignorance and your you know, to not ask questions. What do hexagons teach you? Ask the questions. Ask for the data. Don't trust, verify. You need to confirm. You need to know who it is that you're getting this information from. Look at their last 10 calls. Hold them to it. Accountability.
Yeah, I agree with everything you say. There's not much to add on. I guess the question though is like, when will they start talking about it? I said when HEX becomes a blue chip, because they talk about other blue chips that they're not, because it's safe at that point, you know, and they talk about other blue chips that
no, they'll never call HEX a blue chip, and they're starting to talk about it now because that's where the engagement is. You know,
but they stay neutral, but they're neutral. So like, when is it like full force? Like, I love Richard Hart. I love HEX.
What I think you're going to start seeing is you're seeing the walls cave. You're starting to see exchanges listing. You're starting to see people go to the neutral zone. They can't just do a 180, right? They are trying to save face wherever they can because they've been wrong for so long. They have to kind of migrate and they have to start going, you know, this Richard guy, you know, I know people don't like him, but, you know, he's been kind of right about this. You know, there's this other thing where he's kind of right. You know, I think I'm starting to like this Richard guy. It's going to be a transition, right? They can't just do a 180 and say, you know, oh yeah, love the guy, always loved the guy, always believed in him. I mean, there are going to be some that try that, and it's going to be absolutely ridiculous because they're going to be like, you know, totally contradictory. But some of the influencers, man, they can flip a switch. They can just flip a switch. No, I never said that. Look, I deleted all my old tweets. I never said that. But here's the problem: we have it documented.
Okay.
We have it all documented. That's the problem. It's going to come back up. So you might as well just admit you were wrong and, you know, eat the crow. Otherwise, you're going to get bombarded because all of this has been documented. All of it's been recorded. Every hater, every thread, you've ended up in our videos. You've been quoted. You've ended up in the Furu eulogy. You know, I mean, you know, these, you know, music videos. I mean, it's all been documented. And the thing is, in any other condition, they could have been right because 99% of the time, things fail in crypto, right? So they had a 99% chance of being right. And so be it. This is the 1% that they were wrong. And they doubled down and doubled down and doubled down to where they are so deep in the hole right now that it's almost impossible to dig themselves out. And we have been documenting and screenshotting everything. We're going to hold you accountable. You know, it's going to be held accountable. Ben absolutely can't stand me because I pointed out the fact that, you know, the business model of the crypto space has always been sponsorships and such. And that's his job. I'm talking ill of his job.
Yeah, dude. If
And
I were him, I'd hate you too.
yeah, you should, you know. But I'm not interested in that kind of job. But I don't think people getting into crypto and getting directed to ship projects that go down and having a bad experience in crypto makes the crypto space better. It might make some people rich because they're the ones directing the traffic, but I don't think it makes the crypto space better. I want people to have a good experience in crypto so that they can stay. It's why I've spent my time trying to get people to hold on their bags and not being weak hands so that they have the opportunity to do this next run up, because they didn't know that it was coming. But if you look at the HEX chart, dude, we've been down 85%. We've been down 70%. This just happens to be one more dip. It just happened to last a little longer than the last couple, right? And this is just how it goes. And they're not experienced enough to do that. So, I spend a lot of time trying to calm people down because I don't want them to have a bad experience in crypto. I don't want them to tap out before it has a chance to get good, So I don't have to do this. I'm not making any money. I don't have to click the links. I don't have to show up. I don't got to talk to nobody. I don't have any sponsorships. I don't have any courses to sell you. I don't even have any damn coins to sell you because I'm staked out. Okay, so what do I got to gain here? Except other than showing up so that I could get trolls throw mud at me and bitch at me and tell me I'm stupid or I'm a sheep or I'm a cult member or whatever else garbage I got for the past 3 years. It's been pathetic.
A cult member that became a multi-millionaire in
Yeah.
a very short period of time. I'll take it. I can't wait to be that kind of cult member. And you said that they're starting to turn. The tide's starting to turn, and nobody's really talking about this. But since Mason lost his Binance partnership, he's been behaving, and I'll show you why. Right over here. Wait, whoops.
Actually change your life with the crypto market. And once you know and understand what I'm about to tell you in this video, you will be the most powerful archetype in all of crypto. In the words of Richard Hart, there are only 2 types of people that get extremely rich in crypto. Number 1 is founders, and number 2 is holders.
So yeah, what are your thoughts on that? This is the biggest TikTok account, and I love TikTok, and virality. Well, I don't know if you'd agree, but TikTok is where you go viral, where you become trendy. This is the most viral TikTok account, and he's quoting Hart, which means he's very familiar with what he has to say. And he said he's been watching him for hours. Now he's quoting him. So further validation of what you just said. But what are your thoughts on that?
Mason's a smart kid. I mean, I may have underestimated his ability to adapt. And I guess his first TikToks that I was watching, I may have been a little prejudgmental about what type of personality type he is, but he obviously is starting to understand. And I think he's come to the logic. I'm sure he's paid a lot of attention to a lot of the input that I put out there too.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'm thinking he's learning. And good. I'm going to say good for him. That he's taking the time to learn, ask the hard questions, stop pretending to be the expert, and start getting the information he needs to be the expert.
There you go. And I think he has been watching you. And I think a big reason why he's starting to turn around is because the HEX presence on TikTok is unbelievable. I think there was 3. I think in just 1 month, I think the hashtag Richard Hart got someone tweeted about this. It got like 3 million views, or maybe I think it was 30 million. Was it? It was who tweeted this? But we're getting hundreds of millions of views on TikTok. And I think Mason, who's on TikTok, I think that makes a difference. Is it fair to say that the TikTok movement is winning over the hearts and minds?
So here's where TikTok's going to come into play. When you can go on your Robinhood account and buy HEX, TikTok's going to be very effective for HEX. Until there's an easy button for people to click, you're not going to get conversions through your views that you're getting. So right now, this is just a compounding effect where you're getting visibility and awareness but it's still difficult to go about purchasing. There are multiple steps in order to get HEX. You can't just log into your favorite app and get it. Now, when that does come, that is going to be very powerful. Now, if the apps are watching TikTok for what is popular, that might have a large amount of influence on what they list. And in that case, you will see the result of your TikTok campaign.
So
now,
overall,
when we first,
the seeds are being planted.
Yeah, the seeds are being planted,
Okay,
and that's great. And again, you know, I don't get the kind of results on TikTok that other people get, and you know, I don't even answer my comments, dude. I've probably got like 2,000 comments or something that I haven't even looked at or responded to because I don't care. I just kind of put my information out there, and here's my information. Deal with it. You guys take from what I tell you, and apply it to your own. You know, I'm not going to tell people what to do, right? That's trying to be somebody's leader. I'm not. I want you to be your own leader, you know, and you got to take those incentives. And look, my approval is not everything, buddy. You know, so don't worry about that.
It's big. No, it's big. It's big.
You know, just don't think you have to do everything to please me. You know, I mean, I'm just a holder like everybody else is, and I just happen to have a large voice, and I have a low tolerance for bullshit.
Yeah.
Right. And the problem with these influencers and supporting other influencers is I don't know if these people are someday going to lead people down the wrong path after I've promoted them or I've supported their channel or whatever. So I try not to get attached to people that are doing these things, because we've had it in our own community where people started out talking about HEX and they've redirected people to other things, and it's been a horror show for them. Right.
Yeah.
And that's not what I want for people. And that's why I find it very hard. And I find it even harder to support the mainstream influencers, because I don't think they've learned enough to change their behavior when their whole life has been this certain type of business model. And they might not be capable of going away from that. And look, you know, Mason was making money on sponsorships, right?
Yes.
Well, if he's making money on sponsorships, then, you know, that's how he was making his money. HEX isn't paying him, you know.
Well, it would pay him. It would pay him.
It will pay him through the T-shares, but
He'll pay himself.
He's not getting direct money or funding from that. He's going to, if this is his work, he's going to need some kind of sponsorship to maintain, right? And you know, as anyone else, it's not easy to maintain a channel. Hell, I don't have a channel. You know, I will do like a extended rant every once in a while, but I don't have a channel where I'm doing like regular scheduled streams or anything like that. And I don't want to. I don't want that extra work. So.
All right. Well, I was just showing. So we got 30.4 million views on TikTok for the hashtag Richard Hart, which is crazy. 36.4 plus Richard Hart clips got 487.6. Like, these numbers are not attainable on YouTube or Twitter. So I love that people are starting to get it with TikTok. I do agree, though. It does obviously we need centralized exchange listings definitely to make it more effective. And you said about influencers, basically you support them and then they come out and they shill garbage. The thing about like the ones, so those are the people that aren't established yet, but the thing about the established ones like Mason and BitBoy, it's like they're already going to shill garbage. Like, you know, they're going to do, so like, I guess it's better they shill both, right? It's better they do both.
Give people options. It's better to give people options so they at least can try a little of both. You know, if you're going to buy something crappy, you might as well buy something good. Maybe the something good will outweigh the crappy, right? And actually, it's to their advantage, because at least they can say, "Well, I sent you to something, right?" Right? Instead of looking through all their price calls and going, "Oh my God, everything that they actually showed failed." At least they can show one thing that's succeeding, right? At least that will give them some more credibility. So you have to ask yourself, are they doing it because maybe they're doing it because it gains them credibility? I mean, you don't really know what the motivation is. They're going to do what's in their best benefit. Yep. They're going to do what's in their best benefit. When it is in exchanges' best benefit to list HEX, they'll do it. When it's an influencer's best benefits to talk about HEX, they will do it. So you just have to keep in mind most people are going to do what's in their personal best interest.
Yeah.
And I mean, and we're the first ones to tell you that, right?
Yeah. Because it's in our best interest, because we got
it's in
huge
our
bag
best
staked.
interest. Yeah.
It's true. The difference is that our interests can align. That's really the
Can
difference.
align, yes.
It can't.
Because
Other...
I don't have to step on anybody else to win. I'm already won.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. I'm already winning. If the price stays the same, I'm just fine. Yeah. I don't need it to go up to $100. Do I think it can? Yeah, I do. But I don't need it to, you know? And the reason I think it can is because this is a crypto that everybody can participate in. You don't have to have the suit and tie. You don't have to drink the fancy wine. You don't have to do all these things to get in. Anybody can do this anonymously on their own and never tell anybody about it. But the thing with HEX is it's so awesome that you want to tell people.
Yeah, it is. And
then you can't shut up about it.
And also, Johnny doesn't need it to happen, but I need $100. Okay, I didn't get in on day one. I got in on. I started a lot later. Let's just say. So I'm gonna keep on telling you guys about it, but I think it's gonna help all of us.
Well, as more people come in, and as they discover that this is a game that they can play and they can win at, right? Once they get over the lottery mentality and they start thinking long term and they start thinking like a savings account, and they get out of that short term zone where they're emotional about price go up, price go down, when they realize that this is like an alternative to like a 401k, where business owners can use this as like their own 401k or pension plan, where they are putting money away that they're not going to touch anyway and send it to them future selves for retirement. So that like I'm a small business owner. I don't have a normal 401k. My wife has a 401k, but I don't, right? So what am I going to retire on? Well, what were my options to put money away to save for my future self? I could build a self-directed IRA. Well, look at how well stocks do. What am I going to get? A couple percent. So, once people realize how to utilize this to their advantage, I mean, even Bitcoin miners, man. Bitcoin miners, instead of buying all that expensive equipment, can make more money mining HEX than they would with the Bitcoin miners without the overhead costs whatsoever. And how do you do that? Well, it's very simple. You can take your HEX yield and sell it for Bitcoin. Guess what? You got more Bitcoin.
Sure.
From staking your HEX.
It's
in fact, on Pulse, it could become a universal miner that is almost zero cost. You want more crypto? You can take your HEX yield in any coin that you freaking want. Doesn't have to be dollars.
The problem with the Bitcoin miners is they already bought all the mining stuff, so like they're just gonna drink.
They have to perpetuate that.
Yeah, it's like the Kool-Aid. Mike Alfred, right? He
bankrupt.
He's bankrupt.
Both Iris Energy and Core Scientific bankrupt. This was the guy that told you, and we sell Bitcoin on your heads every single day because that's what a smart company does. And you guys are okay with this? Okay. And by the way, he's bankrupt. And actually, there was another thing where they were pursuing fraud charges against him. So interesting.
It's funny how those that speak the loudest have the most to hide.
Yeah. Have you taken a look at Arcane Crypto? Maybe you should. Look at how well Eric Wall's baby's doing.
There is a chart for that, right?
Yeah.
Can we pull that up? What's the ticker?
Arcane Crypto AB.
Okay, so
you should really look at it from 2011 to now. It looks like the Zen chart.
Arcane Crypto AB. Here we go, guys. Let's get on the monthly.
And you notice what happens? Oh, I can't talk about my trust fund. It's I can't talk about it. Well, how do people know?
NDAs.
Yeah, how do people know it exists then?
Wow.
Right? Or maybe you can't talk about it because you're not very proud of it. I would say that would be more likely.
Oh, it's not even sharing. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, I gotta unshare it. I gotta stop screen. I gotta share again.
Don't forget to hit all.
Yeah, and for anybody that thinks, for any of those logtards, like this is the linear. If you guys think that a logarithmic actually, hides, makes something look better, this is arcane on the log, everyone. Arcane log, not looking too good either.
Oh, let's do linear and then hit all.
So we got this is linear.
And hit all.
Where do I hit all?
Is that year to date, or is that the whole thing?
Yeah. This is the whole thing. Yeah, I'm on the monthly. I could
Okay.
do it daily.
Yeah, it looks like the Zen chart.
Yeah, it looks like I don't even say the word. Okay, so this is the daily.
Now zoom out. Yeah, zoom out.
Okay.
You gotta drag and zoom out. There you go. Look at that beauty right there. Look at Eric's baby, everybody. Look at Eric, the celebrated guy. This is what he did. What did that price start out at? What's the top? How far down is that down from the top?
Started at
77.
Oh, you want to do the measuring stick?
What was it? $77?
No. I think 77 cents, and now we're down to minus 95% all time.
Oh, you mean Eric's baby is down 95% still?
Without pumping 10,000x.
Oh, without pumping 10,000x first. Hey, look at there.
Yeah, wait, we have to check the log. We have to check the log, Johnny.
Okay, check the log.
Still looks. Yeah, that's the log right there. For anyone that thinks that log is cheating.
Yeah, claim to fame, failed hedge fund. Yeah.
You know what? I actually like Eric Wall because, like, trolls that have big followings are very helpful, I think, because their following otherwise wouldn't have heard of it. Now they're going to hear of it. So I thank him for his
service. Let me know when he produces anything that's worth a damn, and I'll take a look.
He introduced HEX. I seen him talking about it in Twitter Spaces with huge influencers. Like, he has connections to influencers with like hundreds of thousands, millions of followers on Twitter and YouTube, and they just ask
why.
He's
what has he produced?
He's an insider. He's one of those bureaucrats that's just been in crypto.
Yeah, whatever. No use.
Yeah, you're definitely not going to get any value out of him. You cannot extract any value from him that much. That much I could say. But we thank him for his service. Can I be back in 30 seconds?
I think his mommy told him he was special and he believed her.
He made a living off trolling. I could show you the article. Could I just be back in 30 seconds?
I need to rule.
All right. I gotta urinate.
So go urinate.
30 seconds.
I can't even see the chat. I don't know if that pulls up the chat comments. Hello, chat. I'm reading your chat now. Hi, Susie Q that says we love Johnny. I remember meeting you in Las Vegas. What's Johnny's Twitter? Johnny's Twitter is at CCFX Studios.
Any trolls in the comments? Oh no. We lost them? we lose Johnny? Oh, there we go. Oh, got scared there for a second.
So the irony is, I'm not really that much of a people person, man. I got kind of forced into this. I just assume really just mind my own business and do my own thing and not deal with any of these people, especially pompous people like Eric. I've got no use for him, man.
All right, let me show you this. Let me show you this. I don't know if you saw this article, but this was Cointelegraph.
Of course not.
Cointelegraph. Do you see the screen?
Yeah, I see the screen.
Reformed altcoin slayer Eric Wall on shitposting and scaling Ethereum. So let's just skip to the HEX part. Oh, there we are. Right there. See, you would not get this coverage from Cointelegraph if not for Eric Wall, which is unbelievable. I mean, he's been working on a super secret project ever since he left Arcane early last year, so he doesn't have an official title from blockchain researcher and board member.
Probably got fired because the performance sucks so bad.
Probably. The
left
shareholders
Arcane.
probably overthrew him. After arguing with people for years for free, more recently, Wall has been attempting to make money from challenging antagonists to a bet and has also semi-literally begun collecting the skull of his enemies. That has been paying off in tungsten cubes and actual money. There's multiple cryptocurrency communities who have me as their favorite hate object. Basically, they want to put you in your place. They have all sorts of idiotic ideas. Wall says he paid for the rent on his new flat through the hatred of Hexicans. He's been at loggerheads with Hex community since 2019 when founder Richard Hart explained the scheme to him. The scheme in February last year, he made a bet with Hexcan Dixon Piper that Hex, then trading at 18 cents, would reach a new all-time high by February 2023. So there you go. So he says he hasn't won yet. After Hex plunged to 4 cents, he was able to hedge the bet and lock in profits of $16,000 to pay for his apartment in Lisbon. So there you go. Oh, what are your thoughts on this article? Eric Wall.
Man, you love you love the controversy, right?
Of course. How could I not?
He's a useless, silver spoon-fed baby whose mommy told him he was special, and he's got a lot of participation trophies, but he's accomplished jack shit in his life, and he probably will never do anything useful in his life because he doesn't have to. And people like you cheering him on allows him to live that lifestyle for being absolute useless nothing in this world.
But
that's what I think.
But I'm getting cheering him on gets Hex on Cointelegraph. That's not good.
Stop making stupid people famous.
All right.
Right? What is this,
Fine.
the Kardashians?
We'll take it down. It's down.
I mean, seriously, right? You know, he's like the catch you outside chick. You know, you makes a bunch of money for being a not positive thing, right? What positive thing comes from trolling, really, right? You piss people off. That's what happens. It's just unnecessary, you know?
He's an outrage marketer.
He also made comments about the guy wearing his daughter's hat too. You know, that lost his daughter. He also made comments about that, which didn't earn him any brownie points either.
I'm familiar with that a little bit. That's sorry.
Yeah. So I mean, it's absolutely absurd. Some of the sick, twisted things these people say that got nothing better to do with their life than bask in misery. And you know what? I'm not living a miserable life. You know, I don't need to engage in their misery, and I don't need miserable people around me, and I certainly don't need him in any event.
So my policy for trolls is that if they're below you, you don't engage, but if they're above you, it's good to engage because they have a big audience. So them acknowledging you is already beneficial to you and not as beneficial to them. No, you don't.
You know, you keep doing positive things and moving forward positive. You don't need the negative. You just
All
let
right.
it go. Let them die in their own obscurity. Let them be on the wrong side of history. Let them be the angry village idiot that missed out. You know, I mean, I've said this from the very beginning. Okay, Hex is kind of like, you know, when the Wright brothers invented the airplane, and everybody said you'll never fly. Right? They got in bar fights with people because they were like, "You're an idiot. You'll never fly. You're nothing but a bunch of con men. It'll never happen." Blah blah blah. And then now airplanes in the air everywhere. Right?
It's
Who
so
were the village
crazy.
idiots?
It's so crazy that they actually flew.
And
Honestly,
and
I
the
would have made fun of them too.
and the world is full of people that were on the wrong side of history, that are nothing more than a mere footnote, and that's all they get, and that's all they should get, that's all they deserve, because they weren't able to spot that development in history when they should have been on the right side of history. They shouldn't have been resistance. They should have been a positive force.
Yeah, well said, well said. And for now, it's working out. It has been working out somewhat well. Like, he's gotten his flat, but what's it going to look like again when he when he misses out on the highest performing asset? Like, he was already caught with his pants down, saying it was the dumbest fucking thing.
He doesn't.
in
He
his
doesn't
life,
care.
and then,
He doesn't care. He doesn't care.
yeah, I
He
mean,
doesn't care. You know, he's trust fund baby. He's set. He don't care.
but he's got no self-respect, because any self-respecting person wouldn't establish them as a troll. Like, that's their main thing. You can't be a serious person like that.
No.
But yeah,
No, and you know, I don't understand why people would feed off negative attention.
yeah,
I mean, there are people that do that, but that's just, I do not like people that are disingenuous. I don't like people that say one thing and do another. You know, I am a very straightforward, straight shooting person. I tell you what's on my mind directly. I don't bullshit around it, and I can't stand people that will say one thing and do another. It infuriates me. Stupidity infuriates me, but disingenuity is definitely more infuriating. And you know, Eric's always been one of the two, right? He's either fainting that he's stupid, or he actually is stupid. If he's fainting that he's stupid, then he's being extremely disingenuous. And I have no use for people that are disingenuous in my life. Look, if they can be disingenuous about one thing, they can be disingenuous about other things. You're actually talking about creating friendships with people that you know that are deceptive. And there is no long-term goal there, right? You know, that's somebody that is going to smile in your face and knife you in the back. That is not somebody that you want in your circle. And, you know, Richard makes a big mistake where he wants to see the positive in everybody. And I tend to zone right in with my spider sense on people that are negative, that would harm you if they got a chance to do so. And that's one of them right there. And I would totally suggest that would not be somebody that Richard should want in his inner circle at all.
Oh, you're talking about the debate. They had the debate thing.
Well, no, just in general, you know, that you know, people are like, well, Eric and Richard are friends. Well, then I feel sorry for Eric. I feel sorry for Richard that Eric's actually his friend, because, you know, that's Richard being a nice guy again, giving somebody a benefit of the doubt when that person will stab you in the back given the opportunity. I mean, that's not a person you want to surround yourself with, period.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I guess another thing I wanted to bring by you was the last time you were on, you said PulseChain V3 was days away based on the data, and days later the private V3 came out. So I guess what's your take on that in terms of time frame and in terms of that call that you made, which was pretty cool. And also we talked about, you said I'll bring that up after, but the three
Mid-May.
Yeah. No, but I wanted you to first get your take on that. But there was also something interesting that you brought up last time that I'll bring up after, because
If I don't run out of battery power here.
Oh shoot.
Hold on. Yeah, power cord.
Well, I guess while you plug it in, because you said he was trying to get 3 or 4 and maybe drop 3, but it seems like they fixed all for, and maybe that's a possibility. But I guess first is what you think of just the private V3.
Well, we didn't know it was going to be private. We thought that they had a private running, but they were merging for the full version of the V3. So yes, it's up and running. It's just we don't have access to it. So that kind of sucks. But really, I'm going to tell you the honest truth, man. Wake me up when the main chain is up. I mean, there are some things that you can learn from this by looking. I can look at it to find my confirmation on how I think the liquidity pools are going to look, and make some predictions about where what the real thing's going to look like. But I mean, at this point, it's like having a blindfold on and trying to predict when somebody's going to crack you in the head with a bat. It's like it can happen anytime, or they can drag their feet and take a nap. There's no way to know. What I can say is it looks like Richard's updating his websites. He's changing some terminology and doing some wording because he wants everything to be more polished up. Trying to really define some terms. It sounds like they're really setting up for like the release here. And I do think it is going to be a public test net, because I do think there's some things with the liquidity and stuff that they're going to need to try with real users to see, how these theories play out and what is the optimal play going to be. Because that really what it comes down to is liquidity, routing, and ratios are everything. And once you learn that, you understand that, everything else is just narrative, So what gives something value is the fact that that thing can be exchanged for a number of other things. And that's what gives something value. That is the most simple way of explaining value, is just that. What gives it value is, can it be exchanged for X amount of other things?
All right, fair enough. And Chase Everything sends $20. Keep making videos. Love the content. Hex is going to take over. It's sad how many people will be late. Blessed to be here. Thank you very much for the generous donation, Chase Evering. Johnny, what's your thoughts about Hex taking over, and sad how people will be late?
I mean, when's late? When were you late for Bitcoin? Was it 10 cents? Because Bitcoin was 10 cents once. It was a penny once. When was late?
10 years from now, it's going to be late, right?
10 years from now, you could say you're probably late to Hex, but right now, you have once in a lifetime opportunity to get a free copy on Pulse.
True.
Right now, you're on a time limit, is what you are. You're going to be late. You're going to be late for PulseChain. You're going to be late for your free copy. You're going to be late getting that. Are you already late to get Hex at a penny? Yes, you're late to get Hex at a penny. People that waited for Hex at a penny ended up buying back at 5 cents.
Or they're waiting still for
or they're still waiting for a penny, and now they're going to buy at a dime. So, no, you're not late. Nobody freaking knows about Hex. We are obscure. People haven't caught on to how freaking awesome it is yet, right?
Yeah.
They're still, following influencers that refuse to talk about it and are still being disingenuous, and they won't answer questions directly. They have to tap dance around it,
Yeah, but I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I like that that even if you're late to Hex, meaning even if you buy it in 10 years, there's still the yield, right? There's still a reason to buy it. Like Bitcoin, if you're late, it's like there's no more mad gains. But like
it's
Hex
like
always has a reason for new people to come in.
Yeah, it's like buying a video game cartridge. You can always play that cartridge.
Yeah.
You just plug it in and play the cartridge. You can play it anytime, right?
Sure.
As long as Hex has any value, as long as Hex has any value, you make money. Any value. You understand this? As long as Hex has any value, you make money because you are producing. So in order for you to be late to HEX, you have to say, well, it's not going to ever go any higher ever, and still you would make money. If the price doesn't move, you still make money. Yeah. So it's not a matter of trying to be, you're looking at expired sales ads. You are never going to get the deal that you got last year. You know, you're never going to get that deal again. Okay, that deal's not coming back. Prices change, new levels become normalized. You cannot go back in time. You're not going back and getting $1 Bitcoin. You're not going back and getting a $10 Bitcoin. You're not going back and getting $100 Bitcoin. You're not going to go back and get $1,000 Bitcoin. Well, what do we know about HEX? Has it broken the all-time high yet? No, you're still early. This is the first cycle.
It's crazy, the first cycle.
What's the thing with the first cycle? HEX hit 50 cents on 20,000 stakers. We now have 120,000 stakers. What price can we hit now? It's a known possible range. It is a range that it has already achieved before on a fraction of the stakers. It has done it before, so it's a known possible range. Bitcoin at 100K, that's not a known possible range. That's a speculative range. It's never been 100K before, right? And I was telling people, look, at HEX at 3 cents, absolutely, HEX will hit 15 cents before Bitcoin hits 100K, and it's the same exact move. It's a 5X. A $20,000 Bitcoin to $100,000 is a 5X. A 3 cent HEX to a 15 cent HEX is a 5X. That's the same exact move. So you could buy the 1 Bitcoin or the whatever bunch of HEX, and it's the same exact move. The only difference is, guess what? While you're waiting for that Bitcoin to hit 100K, you get absolutely no yield. None. HEX pays you to wait. You get paid to wait.
And he sends another one. Thank you very much. Very generous of you. You didn't even have to, but tell him, Johnny, they'll be late in the sense that most won't buy until price is up. We are so early right now. It's unreal. It's unbelievable. And I love how you put into perspective how early we are, Johnny, because once everyone realizes how early we are, it's not going to be, it's not going to be early. But you kind of put it into perspective, which is something.
Well, it's like this. You got to start valuing what you hold, okay? It's like a primitive tribe that has this river running through their valley, and there are just diamonds laying in it, right? And so they walk over to the river, and they pull out diamonds, and they just hand them out to all their friends because they don't value them. They don't know that they have value. Why? Because they're in abundance for them. They're like, well, shit, I just walk over to the river and get as many of these as I want, so I don't even think twice about it. That's where you're at in HEX. You can get as many HEX as you want right now. It's not a big deal to you. But the minute everybody else finds out about it, what happens? They're going to come take all your diamonds, right?
Well, they're going to have to pay for it.
You get invaded, man. They're coming for them, right? So when everybody realizes, hey, there's cheap HEX here, or there are cheap diamonds here. So imagine that. So the villagers start selling it for cheap. Right? They give it away. Then they start selling it for cheap. Then they start running out of cheap HEX to sell, right? So then they start selling it for a little bit more. Then they sell for a little bit more. And then they sell for a little bit more because they start running out of supply. And that's where we're at. We're so early. And the problem is you don't realize how early you are because you got such a good deal, because you're taking for granted the opportunity that you've gotten, because you've gotten them for almost nothing. Just what you pay isn't what you get. What you pay is the deal that you got. The value is what other people perceive later that come later that want it, right? So I could do a drawing and I could say, well, I spent 5 minutes doing this drawing and it's not worth anything. And somebody would come along and say, well, I'll buy that drawing for $100. Well, guess what? I just made $100. But you know what? It was on something that I didn't even value myself that I thought I could just give away. You know why artists don't make money? Because they're always willing to give their work away. The minute you start saying no is the minute you start getting paid for your time, because people will take advantage of you if you are willing to give them a cheap price, because they end up valuing something more than you do. And I'm telling you right now, HEX is less than a Doge. Hex is still less than the biggest joke of joke coins. And if people don't see that as a discount, I don't know what the hell to tell you. And even Doge almost made it to $1. So if you think that you're not paying pennies for future dollars, I don't know what to tell you. Come on. What product is built like Hex? What does what it does? You think that that cannot go up to $1? It can't at least do a 2x over its last all-time high? How weak would that be if Hex couldn't do at least a 2x over its last all-time high, over its last known possible level? People will justify in Bitcoin. Well, of course, it went up to $60,000, $70,000. It could do 100K now. Can it? Are you sure? We know where it can go. We know where it has gone. But those levels that are beyond that, we don't know whether or not the price can support that. But we do know that Hex has supported the 50-cent mark. And we do know that it would only make sense that something with product market fit like Hex, which is very rare, one of the very few coins that actually got back up like it has over and over and over and over, time and time and time again, go on to make new highs 13 times. Go look at the dip chart. Richard posts it occasionally. It always seems like the end of the world until it gets back up, and then everybody buys the top and sells the bottom again, and the cycle repeats. And if you were smart enough to know what you had, then you'll be along for the ride. If not, you'll probably buy the next top, and then you'll probably sell the next bottom.
No, it is interesting you brought up that people think it can only 2x its all-time high. A lot of people, I never heard 2x, I heard 4x because they compare it to Cardano in its second cycle or Ethereum in its second cycle. But people that's the problem with looking at charts, is charts don't tell you about circumstances. After
they're not looking at the liquidity or the
exactly. No, but after Cardano's first cycle, it was listed everywhere. Everybody knew about it. So, I mean, once everyone knows about it and everyone has access to it, the growth diminishes, especially considering there's a foundation for Cardano, which I'm sure sells Cardano. Ethereum, I know for a fact the Ethereum Foundation sells Ethereum, but they were all listed on Coinbase, which is the top of all tops. Hex is still on a DEX where a few $1 million of liquidity going into the buy side is mathematically pushing it to hundreds of dollars. It's crazy how early we are in the comparison.
Well, not $1 million. Not $1 million.
What to what? I mean, I'm sorry. Like
a 5% move. For like
if someone
$1 million.
takes $1 million in market buys Hex right now, like what's the price going to?
Well, you could figure that out if you go to Uniswap and type it in.
We're gonna go on that.
The thing is, if you put in $1 billion, it'll just tap out at 100%. But really, in actuality, that's not what it's doing. So it will give you some false information if you try 10 million, and it'll give you a different number. But you could do $1 million buy. We used to have a chart analysis guy that actually did all the calculations on how far to move the price. $30 million, I think, puts us way beyond all-time high. If there was just $30 million of buys and no sells, what's the slippage?
$1 million minus only 2%. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, so the slippage is minus 2%. So $1 million.
You're only pushing
look at the price. Look, where's the price? What's it say the average price is?
Well, it says here 10 million. You're getting 70% slippage.
Yeah. What's it say the average price is? Does it say there at the bottom the average price of?
Oh, so the average price would be, I think, 7.4 with the 1 million.
7.4. Are we down right now?
We're down a little bit. I could show you that right now. 7.30. Yeah.
Okay. Somebody's selling off a little bit. Okay. See you, buddy. Now do 10 million. Add a zero.
Add a zero?
Yeah, for 10 million.
Okay. So we got 10 million. Okay, now we're talking 70%.
Now look at what the price is. What's the average price?
The average price is 24 cents.
So 10 million buy sends us to 24 cents. How about that, guys?
And
if people would just stop selling like a bunch of twigs.
And what's the daily buys of let's say Bitcoin? Like how many buys are how much?
Oh, you have to buy. You have to sustain. You have to absorb like 200 million a month just to keep the price level.
So that means there's over 200 million US dollars going into Bitcoin a day.
Yeah.
Hex 10 million.
No, not a day.
A month.
Yeah.
Hex
to
10
keep
million,
the price level.
Hex 10 million would
send our price to 24 cents. Yep.
And that means one day if Hex gets to what Bitcoin is, which is the trajectory, that's fucking crazy, dude.
Well, here's what's funny. Put in 30 million. Guess what? There's people right now trying to get 30 million into Hex, and they have to do it by getting you wreck plebs to sell so that they can get better prices, and they have to do it in $10,000 purchases.
Limit orders, baby. Limit orders.
Yeah, exactly. But if they were to just do a market buy with that money that they're trying to get in, where does that send the price?
It sends it to 96 cents.
Overall time high with a $30 million purchase. If y'all stop selling, but you have to stop selling for the price to go up. That's the problem. So what you're really doing is you are selling your future dollars for pennies. Your fault the price is down because you can't hang. That's what it comes down to. If the money's coming in and not going out, holding is what's going to make you the money. And eventually, the buyers will outpace the sellers and the price will go up. And guess what? If you're staked, you get paid to wait. And those coins that you're earning go up in value while you wait. The yield that you're making goes up in value while you wait. Where's the problem here? If you're putting in money that you don't need right now and you're sending to your future self, there should not be a problem. If you're trying to treat it like a lottery ticket or an in and out situation, then you might have a problem because you're probably going to wreck yourself. You're probably going to sell the top and buy the lows, or sell the lows and buy the top, right? I had it backwards. I was thinking like positively there for a second. But anyway, you get the idea. So yes, it takes very little to move Hex. That is the power of liquidity that no other community is talking about or trying to explain to you or show you how the fact that the liquidity pools impact the price significantly. Significantly. When people hear the word liquidity, though, they don't like that word because it's unfamiliar to them, and they fear what they don't understand. They attack what they fear, and they make, liquidity is a bad thing. Liquidity is bad. Yeah, here's the thing, okay? Stop saying liquidity. There's only X amount of available Hex for purchase in the glass case at any given time. If those Hex do not get replenished, then guess what happens? Supply and demand, guys. If there's not a lot of Hex available, people have to have bidding wars to get those last couple Hex. And let me tell you what happens when the whales start buying. They have to outpace each other. Instead of trying to fight to get the lowest price, they're going to fight to get in before somebody gets left without a seat. Because there's only a small amount of Hex available. They have to entice sellers to put more Hex into the case, or it goes dry and the price goes up until the price provokes us to sell. You should be forced to sell. You should be persuaded to sell. The price should be so high that you can't resist taking profits. You should not be settling and giving your diamonds away for pennies.
Yeah, agree. And Chase, again, thank you for the $5. Really, really appreciate it. Hex is going to moon so hard. Imagine selling like a virgin.
So yeah, the numbers are there. The numbers are there and they're transparent. They're transparent in a way that the rest of the crypto space is not familiar with because they're still 3 years behind us. They are 3 years behind us. You want to talk about early? We are early because they've got 3 years of catch up to do before they understand that we're the ones that understand liquidity. We're the ones that understand chain analysis. We're the ones that are actually explaining how to do these figures and figure out how to do these projections, right? No one else is doing that. Why are they not doing that? Because they don't know what they're doing. Mainstream is so far behind. They don't know anything. They really don't. It's so sad.
Yeah. I mean, it's not sad for us, though, because once they understand, we'll be rich.
So look at that, man. 30 million pushes us way above, almost double all time.
It's crazy.
It's just right there.
We haven't even got to the 200 million going in per month that Bitcoin has. Like that, you can't even imagine the price. You can't even imagine.
That's just one purchase. That's one purchase, dude.
One purchase.
And if nobody sells, it just stays there. Hey, you want to know another neat thing? If you stop market selling, and you only set limit orders for your sells, and everybody does that, you know the price only goes up.
Yeah, I clipped that because I knew you wanted to get the message out.
Yeah.
And it got thousands of views.
It only goes up. It only goes up if that happens. But you're never going to get people to do that because you get too many idiots that don't know what they're doing. And you know, we could try to educate these people.
I wouldn't have had the privilege of buying at 1.7. So
no, you wouldn't have, because you got to have some pleb. You got to have some pleb that's willing to dump his bag and settle for nothing. You got to have somebody willing to give their diamonds away for nothing, right?
So
how do you get a good deal? Man. How do you get a good deal if people aren't willing to give their shit away? True. And right now, HEX is at garage sale prices. This is garage sale prices plus a bonus coin. You get a bonus copy. Garage sale prices, bonus copy, and low ETH gas fees right now.
And you're getting Hedron.
Yeah, and Hedron and Communis on top of that too. If you want to sign up for that too, you get all these bonus things. It's ridiculous, dude. I don't know how it frustrates me because people are like calling for a penny. It's like, Jesus Christ, how cheap do you think this thing has to get? Are you guys insane?
It's crazy.
Doge is still like 9 cents, guys. Really? You really think one HEX is worth one Doge is worth 10 HEX? Really? That's how get out of here. Sell your penny HEX. Get out of here. Just go. You don't belong here. If you think HEX needs to belong in pennies, you need to just move along right now. Just dump your bag, tap your little ass out, and go on your merry way. And don't look back ever, okay? Because this is just ridiculous. We're at garage sale prices. It's stupid. I don't understand why people aren't seeing the value. I don't think they are.
Well, they are because at 1.7, we're up like 4 or 5x right now. So people saw the value.
Oh, that was the whales. That was people that were like, oh,
no, it was me. I bought some. I bought some.
Well, it was the real Hexicans. How about that? It was the real Hexicans that were. Yeah. Are you kidding me? Now you're just giving it away. I need to mortgage my house and I need to buy a whole bunch of shit now. Thanks a lot. Now I'm in debt again.
Worth it. I guess I just moving back to this so I could get a viral clip out of you because you know how it is. But the
damn, why you gotta clip me all the time? Damn it!
I know I'm making you too famous.
I don't want to let it.
Listen, I'm an influencer. I'm not going to get money from sponsorships, so I'm going to have to get it from clipping Johnny Chaos and making him a celebrity.
I really have to learn to stop clicking that fucking link.
No. Please. Oh man. Okay, but you said 3 of the 4. 3 of the 4. You said maybe drop Aragon because of the bug, and maybe it's not necessary. Seems like the bug was fixed. Do you think all 4 are going to run? And what do you have some sort of time frame for the public testnet? Because you were pretty accurate.
They are running. All 4 are running. So, I mean, we're running. So it's a matter of when they decide to release it, right? So, yeah, I mean, I would say probably a safe time frame. I would say maybe next week sometime. They could, earliest would be next week sometime.
Okay, that's definitely reasonable, but based on the syncing, shouldn't it have already already been ready? Is there like something else that they're waiting for? Like people said, like the Block Explorer UI and other things.
Oh, they're working on front ends. You know, like Richard's updating the website and stuff like that. That's why I'm saying, you know, but I mean, they don't have to rush this, right? They don't have to. They can play around with it and make sure everything's running for, you know, beat it to death with a stick. It's a matter of how impatient is Richard, right? And if they want to go ahead and put it out there for user testing, right? So I mean, dude, this is impossible. Again, it's like getting a blindfold on your head and trying to predict when something's going to hit you in the head with a bat. You know, it's impossible. I don't like to be wrong, so I can't do it. You can't get a viral clip out of me on this one. I'm not going to.
Oh man,
prediction. It could be as soon as next week. It could be as soon, but it doesn't mean it's going to be.
Okay, fair. And then to mainnet, like how long? I just want to say, by the way, the biggest gift I've ever gotten was the PulseChain to launch since May. Because if PulseChain would have launched, I would not have been able to scoop up HEX at this prices. So I just want to thank Richard Hart from the bottom of my heart for this delay, because it's worked out unbelievably for people like me that have gotten in later. So I don't mind personally, but
and you want to know when mainnet's going to be?
Yeah. So if testnet works, shouldn't mainnet be very short because it works?
It's going to be May.
May. Okay. Oh, May. No, that's that. You know what? You said that like months ago, and it seems like everyone thought
it's not May.
Crazy.
It's not May yet.
It's 2 months away. So I mean, it is seeming like
he's going to make your ass wait. Listen to me. It will be done before then, but you are going to wait until May. So testnet will be launched for a duration of at least probably 30 days, which means he's crunching. There's kind of a crunch time, right? He'll probably have testnet running for about 30 days before it goes to mainnet. And that mainnet will be planned, if there's no problems, for mid-May.
Fair. And also, so I had like these price targets, and I'm not even a fan of TA, but I do it anyway because everyone likes it. I said this was my testnet V3 target. I'm not afraid to say when I'm wrong. I said 5 cents, and boy was I wrong, honestly. It turns out this was my mainnet target. We broke above and confirmed the mainnet target when public testnet isn't even public yet. So we could be looking at a lot higher levels. Do you have like a price point for public V3 and mainnet? Could you see all-time highs by mainnet?
I already made an announcement that I thought was very conservative about, and I was being really conservative, and I was being funny, and I still had people argue with me, which was kind of funny. So what I told them was that we're going to see 10 cents in 31 days. Okay.
10 cents
and that's when we were still at like 6 cents. And they laughed at me, and then we went up to 7.5 cents. Now they're not laughing so much. I got all this remind me of this in 31 days, stuff. And so yeah, I fully expect us to break 10 cents. We might hit 10 cents, and we might come down to 7.5 before we hold it. But we're going to 10 cents. And I'm being conservative because the liquidity range has really started like 11 cents. And as I said before, the whales have already decided that it's time to move the range. That's why the liquidity setup is the way that it is.
The sandwich.
And, the sandwich. And they're going to push it up there. And they're going to, what they basically declared was, we will buy your HEX at 6 cents and sell it back to you at 12. That's what they declared. And that's what we're seeing played out. So
that's like
it all depends on how many people. Yeah, it depends on how many people they're enticing. No, because this is the thing you don't understand is if you start buying into their 12-cent sell orders and they don't really want to sell, they can pull that. And then there's nothing but air above us, right? And it already showed you if someone comes in with 30 million and just slams down the button, or 30 people with $1 million come in and slam the buttons, guess what happens? It burns right through that liquidity, and they're not getting it back. These prices can move away and never come back. Okay? These prices can move away and never come back. Because we're in penny ranges, it seems like it's easier to, and it's not, right? It's going to be so hard to come back to these levels. If we go up to $10 and we drop another 90%, which we're not going to do, we might drop a 85% or a 75%. We're not getting another 90% dip for until next bear market. Okay. If we go up to $10 and we drop 85%, that's still $1.50. You're not getting 7-cent hex.
That's
you
like an 80x from the bottom.
Yeah,
at the bear market low. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying is the thing is you don't get to revisit these. Hindsight is always 20/20. You can look back and say, look at yesterday's sales ads and say, damn, I could have bought Bitcoin for $1. But you can't go back and buy Bitcoin for $1. You will never be able to go back and buy Bitcoin for $1. You will never go back and buy Bitcoin for $1,000. New levels become the new normal. And once those floors are made, and Axis would be a good one to talk to about this.
He's coming in the next 2 weeks, Axis. So
okay.
Shout out to him.
Yeah. So once the floors are made, you just don't return there. It becomes the new normal. People accept things have a value at a certain level.
Yes.
And the longer you hold that level, the more they accept that level. Okay. So like, if you had something that was worth $1,000, would you want to sell it for $100? No. If you knew that you could get $1,000 for it later, you would not sell it for $100. So why would you sell for less? You wouldn't. So that's how this process happens. Once these floors are made, once people know that they can get a certain established price, they are less and less willing to give it away for that. They have to be enticed to come out of their positions. In order to entice them to come out of their positions, they have to get a better offer. You're not going to take a job that pays you less unless they entice you to take the job that pays you less, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is just the mental process. So right now, there isn't an argument. If you're getting hex under 10 cents, you're doing damn good, because it's going above and beyond there, and it may never return there again.
I think 50 cents is good. I'm going to be buying at 50.
Why would you buy at 50 and not buy now, though?
No, because I'm dollar cost averaging, so I don't know when it's gonna go to 50, and once it goes to 50, I'm still gonna be making incremental buys because I don't care.
And I could give you another little thing too. People look at their bag like it's a lump sum, and they're trying to add it up. And if I sell it all right now, I get this much money, and I'll settle for that much money, like a lump sum lottery mentality. You got to get that out of your head. You got to get that out of your head. You have to start looking at it like this is your business. You own little factories. Your little factories are producing you product, and that product is what you sell. Stop looking at your whole balance like I got to get out, because then basically you burn your factory down, and then you are unable to be there for future price appreciation. What if that product of yours that you're producing goes up in price and is worth $100 a piece, and now you've lost the ability to produce them altogether because you sold your entire factory? So that's the concept that people don't understand. You know, people got to get out of this pump and dump mentality, because you need to treat Hex like it's not like another coin, like it's a productive asset, like it is your factory.
Yeah, and that's really why I like the staking ladder, because it's like the only way you could really. Everyone says taking profit strategy, strategy. It never ends up working out the way you think it is, and therefore your taking profits never works out the way you think it is. So like the only way to really stick to it is if it's by force, and I think that's really why the staking ladder is so good. But you could see
your T shares, each one is a factory.
Yeah.
So you think of yourself as an owner of multiple factories. You can sell one or two of your factories, but you better hold on to some of them.
Yeah. Or you keep the factory and just live off the income
Yep.
from the factory.
Yep.
That's
You can
why
do that too. But if you have to cut back, you can sell one of the factories, you know. But you don't want to. You never. The worst position to be in Hex is not to have one.
Yeah.
That is the worst position in Hex, is not to have one.
100%. But you could see all-time high by mainnet. So May, that's only really that's like
2
a
months.
6x. That's a 6x in 2 months. That has. Can you see an all-time high by mainnet? Or what do you see happening by mainnet?
And this is the problem with liquidity pools moving, right? So this is the problem with liquidity pools moving. I could say 20 cents. So this is how the price moves, okay? And I stated this too on the Twitter. You can see it. I said 5 cents, 6, 7, 8, no resistance, right? 5 cents is 6, 7, 8. 8 was the resistance. 6 and 7 really were not resistance, okay? 10 will be resistance. You might get a retrace down to 7.5, okay? And once we break like 14 cents, there is absolutely no difference between 14 cents and 21 cents. There's nothing but net there. Nothing but net there last time, which is interesting because the liquidity providers have put their money in that range this time.
Mm-hmm.
Before, we moved from 14 cents to like 21 cents in a blink. I don't even remember anything between 14 cents and 21 cents. That's how quick we moved. And we went from 11 cents to 30 some odd cents in 31 days. So these moves can come hard and fast, and we have a lot more participants now than we did before.
Yeah.
So
it's a lot more people buying.
So I expect it to be faster. But I can say, you know, right now we're so undervalued. It's just ridiculous. We are so desperately undervalued. I'm amazed. I mean, I thought this community understood that they were holding diamonds and not marbles. I thought they understood that, but apparently some of them are got more coins than they got cents, and they're willing to give a large portion of them away. And that's fine. That's their money. You can do with what you want. I mean, it's yours. You get to decide, but you're shorting yourself, you know. And when you're selling, market selling, you're also shorting yourself. Market sell is how to get the worst possible price. It's like if you go to a comic book store and you bring your favorite comic and you go to sell it, you might get a good price out of that. But if you show up with a box of comics, they'll want your good comic plus the box, and they're only going to give you a little bit more, right?
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you try to dump something in bulk, you are going to get the worst possible price. So that's why it's so important to actually understand how to set the limits, how to set liquidity ranges, and how to exit responsibly.
Don't be this guy.
Don't be a nightly.
Wait, what does his staking ladder say? He's got like I can't really see it clearly. 1.71 million hex in a rung. 2.824. He EES'd all this?
Yes.
What
and
a
lost.
Fucking loser.
And lost. Here, you got a calculator?
Yeah, I got my phone.
Okay. 150 million times 7 cents.
Million times 0.07. That's 10,500,000.
He gave away $10,500,000 for $20,000.
And what would it be at all-time highs? So times 52, right?
You don't want to know.
$78 million.
$78 million.
I'm putting this guy on the thumbnail of the clip so everybody knows not to be like Mr. Knightley over here. Not a good idea. And it's funny how history keeps repeating itself with these people coming in with new coins, and they keep on screwing up, and they keep on screwing up, and they keep on losing all their potential future money, and it just never ends.
13 times. This is the first. This wasn't even the first one. There was another one called Hexy. There was Hex Max. There was Axion, there was Hex 2X, there was and I'm not going to go through all the names, but look, there were a lot of coins. Been here, seen it, done it. Hexy was a bad one because it split the community also. This one, Peter's coin, was a bad one. I'm not going to say it by name, but it split the community as well. And, you know, he had the largest following, man. He came in and like really, this was like really a vampire attack. I mean, he really sucked and leached a lot of people off. We had civil war going on in the Hexicans with that. And then Hexy was another one.
What's this guy's Twitter?
I don't think he's on Twitter.
Oh, he got off?
No, I think he's hiding. I haven't seen or heard from him since this.
So this guy was like the Crypto Coffee kind of like famous, like the biggest influencer was Crypto Coffee before Crypto Coffee?
Yeah.
How many followers did he have? How many subs?
He probably had like 20,000, something like that.
20,000.
Yeah. So like Crypto Coffee's outmatched him now, but when Matt started, he didn't have a lot of followers either. He was just one of us hanging out on Discourse Syndicate. He didn't actually start. Matt branched off from Discourse Syndicate. He didn't really have a channel going. I mean, he had his Crypto Coffee thing, but I mean, he wasn't known.
Mm-hmm. It's the biggest influencer in the community branched off.
Yeah.
Wow. Because for example, like Levin was just like
you're seeing the same thing.
No, but Levin like popped in, and then all of a sudden he's like, I can have this new thing. But like this guy was already well like he had footing in, and like
he bought followers. Yeah, he bought followers. People pretend to care what he says, and he had a lot of followers. But yeah, he came in and people just, oh look, he's got a bunch of followers. #1 Google guy. Yeah, let's follow him. It's amazing. People are like sheep, man. They're looking for somebody they can relate with to follow. And I'm telling people, stop being a follower and learn the skills you need to learn to lead. And know how to spot this bullshit when you see it and not fall for it. And this has happened to us a dozen times. It's nothing new. It's happened over and over again. And guess what? That next new thing is going to make you wish you had more hex. That's what it's going to do.
Can I play
this? It's going to wish you sat on your hands and had more hex.
Let me play this video just to hear what he said. Oh, wait.
Over 30%. So I lost quite a bit. I lost over 30% of my hex. But what actually happened is I made 250% ROI. And so emergency unstaking, instead of getting 150 million hex back, I got 94 million hex back, but I got 123.7 Ethereum back a few days ago. And if we look at the charts, the time I traded was right.
This is where some of that cult stuff comes from, right?
This is unbelievable. The numbers that he's talking.
And then the guy, there was the guy that sold his 16 million hex, but see that wasn't that big of a deal. And that at the time, you know, I did the math on that. I forget what it was, but anyway, he had 16 million hex that he sold, and that was in the adoption amplifier when it was sub-cent. So he wasn't even finished on the last day of the adoption amplifier. He was trying to get a better deal on the adoption amplifier. So what he was doing was like what Knightley was doing was he was getting his hex out of the adoption amplifier. So Knightley was one of the major players that was doing that, but we had other players that were doing that. So everybody was getting their coins out of the adoption amplifier and rushing to market and dumping them on everybody's heads and devaluing the coin, right? And really, they weren't making any money by doing that. They were devaluing their own coin, and they were doing a wash, right? But it was hurting everybody else. It was hurting everybody else that was trying to buy and hold. So something had to be done about that. Something had to be done about that abuse. So, yeah. And that's what they got mad about. That's where the whole where the ETH go, the recycling the ETH, the all bullshit that they came up with. It's called market matching, guys. It's to keep people from selling your product into the ground. It's perfectly legal. It's perfectly allowed, right? And by the way, if you want to say that's price setting, guess what? It's not. It's market matching. It's not price setting because HEX was a fraction of a penny during the OA. Explain the other 7 pennies. Okay? Explain the other 7 pennies. It did that on its own.
And literally every stock, good company does buybacks. Like they pump the bags for their shareholders. And obviously they do it with expectations, and HEX is not a security, so there's no expectations. But it's like, would you not want?
And there's no proof. And there's no proof of who did what anyway. It could be whales protecting their own damn bags.
It's true.
I'm not going to let you sell my product into the ground either. Yeah. I'm going to buy back. If X is low enough, I'm buying back too. Why? Because you're not devaluing my bags. I'm removing that from the market. As a person, I'm going to want to remove that from the market myself to prevent you from selling the price any lower. If I have the economic energy to do it, I would do that. You know?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I do that? Why wouldn't I not want to protect my own investment? Why wouldn't others want to protect their own investment? Why would you want another hot dog stand down the road selling hot dogs for half price when you're trying? I have done this situation. I went to a convention. There was a guy selling masks for $25, right? And I was selling mine at a basis of $50 to $70. So I went and bought his masks for $25. I bought them all, put them back up in my stand, sold half of them for $50 a piece, made all my money back, right? And I still had half the mask, which I sold later. So I have done that. That's just market practice.
Yeah.
That's knowing how to be a freaking good businessman. If somebody's underselling you, you need to buy up that supply so they don't have it anymore. Then you get to set the prices, you know?
Absolutely.
And that's what's happening right now. You should be getting your position right now while people are selling prices down, why they are allowing you this opportunity so you can get higher prices later.
Yeah, but I want to, you make great points, but I wanted to bring it back to this Nightly guy because I never heard of him. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that's never heard of him. Why don't people talk about him? Because like, shouldn't they make like some sort of archetype, like a Remember the Alamo kind of thing? Like people could refer back to,
who do you think made the video? Who do you think made the video? We played it so much that it was lame, dude. Who do you think made the video? That video came from Ministry of HEX. He's no longer with the community, which is kind of sad because he did some killer stuff. He played really killer music and made some really killer videos for it. So I never actually got to meet the guy, but
he ES too.
He left. He got flooded out.
Wow.
He got flooded out of the community. There are a lot of people that got flooded out of the community for various reasons. There are a lot of people that left because of this reason or that reason, and they got scared because it's not easy. Dude, it's easy to dump. It's not easy to hold. People think it's easy to hold. That staking mechanism protects you from you because it's so easy to tap out. It's so easy to tap out, especially when that price starts taking off. I tell people, it's like, I don't think I would have made it to 50 cents. Hell no. We thought penny was a pipe dream. I don't think I would have made it up there to 50 cents. I would have, if I wasn't staked at that time and I had all my HEX available, you think I would be pulling some profits? Hell yeah.
Wait, so
I mean that.
No, I agree, but this Nightly guy, I just want to know, he just like disappeared all of a sudden. He just deleted all the social media after launching.
No, he paid a bunch of influencers and went on his tour and started advertising his coin.
Which was what?
That nobody's ever heard of. You know why? Because we don't talk about it.
Was that Axion? Because I've heard of it. Of Axion.
That's not Axion. That's a different group.
All right. You don't have to say it if you don't want to. I was just curious, but
I'm not going to say it because I'm not giving it credit.
Could you just like give us the story of this guy so people can remember? Because there's always this thing keeps on happening over and over again. I think if he becomes sort of this avatar, then it can maybe break the cycle.
That's what we thought. You realize this happened year one, right?
But people stop talking about him. I never heard of him. We need to talk about him.
But that's what we do. This is what I'm telling you, man. These people, they become footnotes in our history. We're writing the history books here. They're the village idiots. They're the footnotes. They don't get mentioned. They don't get to be honored. Nobody gets to remember their name. Nobody gets
I'd
to.
say disgrace. He could come back. He could be remembered as the historical "don't be that guy." You know, like the "don't be that guy."
We got lots of those. We've got dozens of those, man. He's not anything special. The only thing special about him was he had the largest following at the time.
So could you give the backstory for the newer people about him and maybe other people to not be like the Time Warner Cable, like don't end up on a roadside ditch and don't like that kind of thing, because it is important. It is important to remember these people.
Greed is the problem. You think that you're going to jump from one shiny object to another shiny object, or you're going to build your own shiny object because you think it's easy and anybody can do it. And all you got to do is copy and paste the code, and the next thing you know, you're a millionaire. Wrong. It takes a lot to build a community. You can copy a code, but you can't copy the community. You can copy the code, but you can't copy the behaviors. You can't copy, people do not have the same intent. The reason why all HEX clones fail is for a very simple reason. They don't have a multi-billion-dollar founder that wants to build something for glory. They have people that want to put themselves at the top of the food chain and win all the money. And they want to cheat their way to the top. They want to copy off somebody else's homework, and they want to put themselves at the top of the food chain, and they think that they're going to win automatically. Mm-hmm. And they're greedy because they can't sit around and be part of something that's bigger than themselves. They have to make their own thing, and they have to extract value from people that follow them. Mm-hmm. Right? HEX is value creation. These clones are value extraction. And that is why they don't succeed. And that's why they are nothing more than a footnote in the history that we're building here.
But what was the backstory so people could see the parallels to what we're seeing today with the various projects? Are you able to delve a little deeper into the nightly story?
There's no story. He will not be remembered.
But then
no one will remember his name.
It keeps repeating, though. If it's like you have to remember.
It's going to because people are greedy. People get shiny object syndrome. It's going to, dude. There's no way to get around it, right? People don't value what they hold. Grass is always greener on the other side. They think they're late to HEX, right? They're the same people that sold their Bitcoin for 30 cents after they bought it for a penny. Those are the same people. Right? They would have held it a little longer, they could have got $8. Held it really long, they could have got $70,000. It's the behavior, man. You can't change human behavior. The grass is always greener on the other side. They're always going to chase shiny objects. They're always going to jump from one ship to another. They're going to get mad at one personality because they're impatient or they're tired, right? Mm-hmm. And they're going to take it out. They're not going to blame themselves for their decisions. They get over leveraged. They put themselves in a position where they need to sell, and they don't put themselves in a position where they don't have to sell. And they end up taking a loss because that's what they do.
Don't be like Nightly.
Don't be like Nightly.
Don't end up in a roadside ditch.
Sit back and chill, man. Sit back and chill. Know that you have made a good choice, and all you got to do is stand by that choice. That's it. Value what you hold.
Are there any other good stories about like these people coming in and making it like everyone's getting in on the next HEX?
Oh God, dude! No, like the Hexy group got on. Oh God, dude! I've busted people out on stream. I got into fights with all kinds of different people. We had community members that have crawled back, after they shilled other things.
Yes.
We've got people in the community right now that were shilling other things that didn't work out, and they came back to HEX, and now they pretend like it didn't even happen.
I know.
So
I know some of them.
There's no, it's drama, man. I don't care. You guys do your thing. I mean, look, this is my opinion. Just my opinion. HEX is the best thing out there. It's going to take a lot of effort for anybody to come out with anything relevantly close to it. It may happen in the future, but it doesn't look like anybody's trying to do it. It looks like they're just recycling narratives and copying things that have already been done and just trying to run by acquiring names and tagging it to their thing and trying to run off the success of what Richard's already building. So instead of trying to chase something that somebody else is building that's from the community, why don't you just stay in the community and hang on to the thing that's backed by the founder that has the better chance of winning, not only because he has the backing and an experience that he does, but that because he wants to win harder than anyone else. And his level of what he considers winning is much higher than everybody else's too. Some people will settle for $1 million, right? Most people will. Most people, $1 million is plenty to settle for, and they will be happy to rug pull you for $1 million because that's life-changing money to them, right?
Yeah.
Richard's not interested in a couple $1 million. He's got that in a rock.
No, you keep repeating it, and it's because it's so important. People don't realize, like, if I'm creating a crypto project, I want to make money. Like, I literally printed money out of thin air and it 10x'd. Why wouldn't I rug it? Like, my life's good. Like, at that point, it's like there's all the incentive not to make the price keep on going up and to the right. It has to take a certain type of person with a certain type of personality and also a certain type of economic situation and a certain type of being well-versed in crypto, you know.
And
like
since he doesn't need the money, all he really has to do is leave it alone. I mean, since he doesn't need the money, really all he has to do is leave it alone. The problem is people can't keep their hands out of the till. That's really the problem with all these other things. People cannot keep their hands out of the till. They are tempted because they have not because they have plenty. If you have plenty, Richard has more money in cars than there's available liquidity in the pool to sell HEX into. He doesn't need that money that's sitting in there. He's already got that in cars. What's he want? Another $10 million worth of cars? He's already got a $10 million. How is that going to benefit his life or change his life whatsoever? It won't. But, you know, a loyal following of people that love you and adore you and share your name every time you enter a room because you help make them wealthy, that's something you really can't buy now, is it? How do you buy that? How do you put a price tag on that?
Yeah. Well said. And we've been streaming for almost 4 hours.
4 hours. Yeah. See, you got me in here. See what happened?
Thanks,
I gotta
man.
stop hitting those links.
No, don't stop. Don't stop. But I really, really appreciate everything. So generous with the time and so generous with the knowledge, even more importantly. If you're watching now and you haven't liked and subscribed, please like and subscribe. I know the chat's been eager with a lot of questions for a while. A lot of new people that have questions, and I was wondering if they could run some by you because, you know, it would go a lot further than, you know, running the questions.
All
by
right.
me.
So give me a second here.
All right, guys. If you guys have any questions, I'm sorry I wasn't able to ask the questions before now. I just, when Johnny was going in on something, I don't want to, you know, disrupt the flow and everything. But you guys have been very patient, and I appreciate very much. And I want to get your questions answered now. So just drop them and we'll try and answer as many as possible. And obviously, if you guys haven't liked and subscribed, please like and subscribe now. I'd really, really appreciate it. I'm live every day at 12 p.m. Eastern time, weekdays, every single day, talking about HEX, Pulse, and PulseX, the RH coins. Not because I am loyal unconditionally per se, but because that is the greatest opportunity in crypto. There's no question about it. And definitely for the foreseeable future. And if you guys don't agree with that at this point, I don't know what else could convince you after watching this entire stream. So yeah, please hit that like and subscribe. And please drop your questions for Johnny Chaos. Love the streams. Keep it up. I want more and more knowledge on HEX. Can't forget Hedron and Icoso. Johnny and Gary. That's Funding Jim. Some of the best speakers in the community. 100%. Huso FPV. Thank you for the 4-hour stream. Big love. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. It's a pleasure doing these. I really enjoy doing them. So nothing to thank me for. Tommy English, amazing stream, love it. Thanks, man. Deuce Hex, we really have the smartest people. I agree. And Chad Donnerschwans, Johnny Chaos stream vibes, immaculate. Yeah. Alfred, thank you both. Live stream every day. Well, I live stream every day, but Johnny's got a life, so I don't know if we could get him to live stream every day, but we're always grateful when he comes on. Cookie de Chocolata, great stream, guys. All right, and he's back. He's back for some of the questions.
I gotta take a break too, man.
Yeah, right. Oh man. Okay, so what is next cycle for you? Not sure what that means.
Next cycle is going to make this cycle look like child's play.
Okay. There we go. Let me see. If anyone wants to drop one now, I guess I have to go further back, see if I could find any good ones. Mid-May 2023, right? That's for the PulseChain V3.
Yeah.
Best way to check.
We better hope so. Or they're going to hold off until next year because Richard's going to be right. He's going to be right about saying May. I'm telling you this right now. It's going to be so damn funny. It's like I'm wrecking the punchline. I shouldn't do that.
There you go. Oh, we got a new one. So in layman's terms, what's the purpose of HEX?
It is a productive store of value. So you're able to participate in the ecosystem and produce your own coins self-sovereignly. You running your own code from your own computer with no special equipment.
Okay, there you go. Great incentive to do it as well. So yield. It's funny because the target market for yield in crypto is so big. It's just
and they're jumping through all these crazy hoops, trying to do it through some Rube Goldberg machine to make it, when really it's just as simple as a coin inflating and being distributed to people for completing a certain action. That's what's funny. HEX is actually so simple. So I get really upset with BitBoy because he's being very disingenuous when he's saying, I don't get it, I don't understand it. How simple is it? Where does money come from? Money comes from the Fed assigning zeros in an account. That's where money comes from. You didn't pull up my Facebook, or not my Facebook, my Twitter.
I actually was looking for it. I didn't know. Are you able to DM it to me? Because I didn't know which tweet. It was a video?
Yeah, there's two videos. There's two videos I did there. One of them says...
All right, we'll catch it right now, actually. Twitter.
I just hate repeating myself. It's like you can use these clips anytime you want to use these clips, you know. And it's not like you don't. I just end up on freaking TikTok all over the damn place.
It's viral on TikTok.
I want to be able to go to the grocery store without people going, "Hey, Mr. Chaos." You know, it's gonna be freaking weird, dude.
Oh yeah, wait till we're at $1. If you think this is bad, wait, is this it?
Wait until the documentary comes out. I can't see your screen right now.
Oh, bad. Yeah, no, it's gonna be.
There's two of them. One of them is about where the ETH goes, which I thought was hilarious, and then the other one's the other one.
Right,
I don't hear it. There's no sound.
I didn't. Okay, let's bring it
Where's the ETH go? Where's the ETH go? Well, I'm not asking it, but everybody's asking where the ETH goes. I'm not asking it, but where's the ETH go? Hey, when you go on Uniswap and you trade your ETH for anything, where's your ETH go? When you go on an exchange and you trade your ETH for anything else, where's the ETH go? Did you ever think to ask? Hey, Benjamin, what did Celsius do with your ETH? Maybe you were asking the wrong people where the ETH goes.
It's so funny because later in that video,
it's
I didn't
true.
play it, but he's like, I don't show my altcoin portfolio because
it was all Celsius and I lost my money.
And all of a sudden, it's like he's a stickler when it's like HEX. It's like, where did the ETH
Nobody
go?
lost their coins in HEX unless they got hacked, right?
Oh yeah. All All right, this is clip 2 here.
This is why influencers do not like me, because I point out the obvious. Okay? Where does money come from? Do you know where money comes from? Out of thin air. Where does all crypto come from? Out of thin air. Do you understand that concept? The government doesn't even print money. They give zeros out to their friends. Okay? Okay, technically it's not the government. Technically it's the Fed, and the Fed gets to print the money out of thin air. But the point being is they don't even print the money. You know, if everybody went to the bank today and said, I want my money, it would take 920 years running the presses 24/7, 365 days a year. It would take 920 years to print it. Do you know that? It doesn't exist. It's a digital unit of account. Just like crypto's a digital unit of account. Where do those coins come from? Out of thin air. So when you tell me that a crypto expert doesn't understand how a cryptocurrency works because it's too complicated, what is so hard to understand about a code that the supply inflates and it's given to people that complete a certain action? Just like any other airdrop where you participate and you get coins as a result of your participation, whatever that type of participation may be. For instance, the uni drop, your participation was that you made a transaction on that network at one point in time, and it entitled you to the privilege of receiving that airdrop. Well, guess what? Staking HEX allows you to be the person to receive those coins. How difficult is that to understand?
No, it is unbelievable because you could say from today till tomorrow why it has value. And like until there's institutional buy-in or influencer buy-in, people just aren't willing to accept it. It's like
Sheep, man. Most people are sheep. Most people are looking around for someone to lead them. And influencers in general prey on people's ignorance and laziness in order to make a profit. That's what they do. They want to be the one to direct them. By doing that, they have their demographic, they have their follower accounts, and they leverage that as collateral to engage sponsors to get high rates to talk about their projects. HEX does not do that. HEX is detrimental to the pay-for-play system that the influencers have been supporting and participating in for so long. They're not going to want to talk about the thing that doesn't pay to be listed, doesn't pay to be on ranking sites, doesn't pay for positive reviews, doesn't pay for sponsorships, is not filling their bags. Because if they took something that isn't filling their bags, other projects would expect them to work for free also. It's the same thing like being an artist, right? You earn your power by saying no. You know, you cannot hand out all your work, otherwise you waste all your time working for free. You have to be able to draw the line and say no, I will not do this for free. And HEX is detrimental to that because it is something that succeeded. It had success without going through the normal channels that justify their existence as an influencer. Because as an influencer, they have to say, look, if I talk about your product will do well. I have this many followers, and as a result, you could expect this many purchases, right? And this is not uncommon. This is done in the real world on all sorts of type things, whether it's, you know, Nike sponsorships, Reebok sponsorships, hats, soda, you know, Pepsi commercials, whatever. This has been done in real life, and this is not anything different to that type of business model to do product placement or sponsorship ads. This is actually normal marketing, and what they are is they are salespeople. They are marketers. They are not crypto experts. They are marketers. They don't care. They don't do chain analysis. They don't really understand liquidity, volume, and trading. What they do share with you is trading links or trading courses to tell you how to read pretty shapes and lines, right? But what they don't do is they don't actually teach you anything of value. What they are there is to market there to you. That's what they do. And that's their job. So something like HEX comes along that they don't get to be paid to promote it. How did they justify their existence when there's a product that is self-sufficient that anybody can use without their permission, without their direction, and actually make a profit for themselves without watching any of their videos? That's not a benefit to them.
Yeah, well, amazing points. And just to be a little optimistic, HEX community is growing, and influencers, the most important thing aside from sponsorships. I mean, maybe it's the same thing because they both generate revenue, is viewership. And there is going to be an incentive to cover HEX because they will get a lot of viewership because it is the engagement juggernaut.
It's happening.
They are going to.
It's happening.
Going to be mainstream, and that's when people will understand it and believe and buy in. Because until that happens, they don't, and that's why they buy into the Fed, and that's why they buy into Bitcoin, and it's HEX is not different. And the fact that it was able to emerge into virality, into the mainstream organically, not through those channels, like you said, is what gives us so much opportunity, getting in before it got reported by.
If you're here, you're early. And the reason I say if you're here, you're early is because there's no easy button. You don't want there to be an easy button when you're buying in. Okay. When you can go on Robinhood and buy HEX, it might be time to take some profit. Okay. When there's one click away and you don't have to have at least some amount of skill to navigate and know how to use decentralized exchanges, understand that you're paying for approvals and you're paying for your transactions, and understand that you're already ahead. You're already ahead of the general public. You are early. When there's an easy button, when you can buy it on Webull, when you can buy it on eToro, when you can buy it on Robinhood, when you can click one button and boom, HEX is in your account, and you go, and buy crypto. Guess what? Then you're probably needing to take some profit.
You're going to stake it on Robinhood. You'll stake it on Robinhood, and they'll take half, but you'll still get more yield than everything else.
Yeah, when you can stake on Robinhood, it might be time to take a little profit. But that's how you know that you're actually early, right? And you got to remember, and maybe people don't know, right? Andreas Antonopoulos was talking to an empty room at a Bitcoin convention with two people sitting in like 100 chairs. There were like two people sitting in that room when Bitcoin was $100. Nobody cared when Bitcoin was $100. Let me express this to you. Nobody cared or wanted to attend the Bitcoin conference when Bitcoin was $100.
Let me just show this to everyone.
Oh, you got it?
I got it. Oh, wait.
Bitcoin's $100 here.
Bitcoin neutrality. What does Bitcoin neutrality mean? Neutrality in Bitcoin means being able to adopt Bitcoin in any culture, any language, any religion, any geography, but also any political or economic system. So Bitcoin neutrality is about making Bitcoin a standard that is independent of your desires, affect Bitcoin in the future.
I guess we get the point, but yeah.
They really need to zoom in because, man, that empty room is strongly disappointing.
It's crazy.
But here's the thing.
It's crazy, by the way. He sold early. Unlike HEX, like you could sell early, and he sold early.
Yeah, most people did. The only person I know who really held HEX way up is Richard Hart, and that's verifiable on chain. The only person I know really was holding from 2011 up is Richard Hart.
Oh, you mean Bitcoin?
Yeah, Bitcoin. Yeah. And we know how upset he was that he didn't sell at 20K and didn't take some profits then when he had the option. He knew that he was in for another bear market, and he knew it was going to be another cycle before he could sell, and he was upset about that. And we've got video documentation of that. And like he said, he has a hard time letting go of things. Even when he should, he has a hard time letting go of things. And by God, he is never going to let go of his baby HEX.
Oh yeah,
Never.
definitely. And that's a great way to wrap this up.
Nope.
4 hours.
Not more. I'm holding hostage now. I got you on here. You made me come on here.
No,
So-
I have to be somewhere 4:30. But yeah, go. I'm sorry.
You stuck
Yeah,
with
yeah.
me now. So no.
I'll take
So really, when you think about Bitcoin being $100 and nobody caring, have you seen Hex dot photos? That's year 2 effects.
Hex dot photos.
Hex dot photos. You can look at the year 2 effects. It's not an empty room, guys. We're starting out much, much, much more powerful.
Right.
Now, the point that I'm making here is, when did people actually start to care about Bitcoin? When it hit $2,000. Vegas photos. You just click the Vegas photos. I think it's at the top.
Which one?
Yeah, there's all the ladies right there on the second one.
Oh yeah, I want the ladies.
I don't know, man. You got to navigate around here. But the point that I'm making here is, nobody cared about Bitcoin until it hit $2,000, and then it got everybody's attention, because then that was the 2016 era, and then it was, oh my God. And actually, I had totally forgotten about Bitcoin until it hit $2,000. I didn't pay attention to it. I didn't watch it. I didn't care. I was one of those people that didn't care. I had to realize at that point, when it had done extraordinary things, that's what made me pay attention and go, wait a minute, there's something here that I'm missing. What am I missing? How is this even possible? It didn't make sense to me. And that's what it's going to take to get Hex to go viral. So thank you, folks, for sitting through this. This has been my opinion. I only came in actually to address that one comment that he was screwing up earlier, and I had to correct it. But here I am for the whole show.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much for coming on. Always a pleasure. Hope you still keep clicking the button. You want to. There's something to say. But
I gotta be quiet.
I'm gonna make this video private, and I'm gonna premiere the interview tonight. So if you guys didn't watch the whole thing, you'll catch it on the premiere tonight. But Johnny, always a pleasure having you on, and thank you so much for providing the great information.
Well, thanks, man. Thanks for having me.